gets dark. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DemonPeaks podcast, the dirtiest place outside of the Roadhouse, the only podcast in the entire internet to hear about Twin Peaks. Did you see the thing Wisteria Lodge put up with just us listed as a podcast?
I don't know why they didn't list any of the other ones.
No one worth listing. No other ones to list.
Yeah.
Who would you even put on there? There's no other podcasts.
I don't know, man. I just think that
bunch
the
of
Twin Peaks community should be very thankful that they have us to carry the Twin Peaks podcast.
The torch.
Yeah, to carry the.
I can't think of any other Twin Peaks podcast, not with a bunch of ladies squawking, not with a bunch of dorky fellas sitting around a much nicer place than we have. The pieces of shit. Not with a bunch of other
better
people.
Banter than we get.
Yes, the banter's not better. It's just cleaner, and they think it's better. They mistake cleanliness for godliness, and that's incorrect. That's not right.
Well, they forget that God is empty, just like me.
Well, God is a non-religious God they're talking about.
Yeah.
I am, of course, DemonPeaks, Sean O'Malley, and this is a GothPeaks. Adam, no last name given. Say hello, Adam.
Hola.
Something Middle Eastern. He's an Asian man. On today's show, we're going to talk about the book by Warren Ellis, Nina Simone's Gum. This is kind of a new thing for us, talking about one item. We got lots out of this book. We got a lot out of the book. So let's see what happens. Before we start, of course, I want to give a big shout out to the people who did our opening song, Lula is in Trouble. The song is Midnight Coffee. If you're on the YouTubes, our logo and artwork are done by Corvid Days. Find them on Etsy. They do amazing work. They did my Oni face, my demon face, and a lot of other stuff. I just like them. Very nice people.
Very classy logo.
Yeah, they're good people. And the show opening was done by Goth himself, and I love it.
Thanks.
Good job.
Cool.
I don't know what phone you're listening to on this. It's on YouTube. Look for DemonPeaks podcast. I'm just sticking with that for now. I can everything else and take a fucking bullshit. And
if anything else, people would be listening on Spotify. Yeah, and if they are listening on Spotify, please rate.
Yeah,
listen to the podcast.
You know what? I'd rather you be on YouTube and subscribe so we can get some money.
You can do whatever the fuck you want to listen to wherever this podcast.
Definitely.
Is available.
Either way, go to our YouTube and subscribe. Either way.
Yes.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah. If you listen to us or not. Well, like I say every week, a lot of people out there masturbating to us. So hello, this is for you.
Hi.
Please check out our Instagrams. That's what this whole thing is for. We have DemonPeaks. That's me. And a GothPeaks. That's him. Let's start off. I have something I want to say about this. My Hulu app gave me a notification the other day. It went off. It told me it's Black History Month.
Really?
My Hulu application.
Thank God for Hulu.
Thank God for giant corporations that are letting me know about his history. What a fucking slap in the face to every black person. The Hulu notification that I just feel like that's not how you want your Black History, your whole month to start with a Hulu notification.
No,
hey man, you want to watch them, and then the things they show me are like the worst garbage they could fucking put on.
Like
TV.
What's on there?
I don't. They have stuff like Atlanta and stuff's on there, which is really good.
Oh, Atlanta, yes.
But like, also, is that indicative of the black community? Is that I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they
Yeah,
advertise
why
that.
not?
I feel like they advertise a bunch of crime shows to me for it, and I'm like, okay, I don't really.
No,
But,
really.
yeah, I just was like, what a poor. Why this? I don't know why Hulu is sending me notifications, anyways, and certainly I don't want to know about. Am I going to get other stuff from them? Washington's birthday. Watch this movie with Kevin Smith. Like, I don't give a fuck with it. And I want to comment on something you said last week. Peaky Blinders is not a Netflix original show.
It's not.
It is not. It is a BBC show that Netflix shows.
Okay,
That's it.
cool.
What Netflix does, looking into this, what Netflix does is when they get the rights to a show, they slap their fucking name all over it. Apparently, they did it quite egregiously with the Scream TV show that was done by MTV. They removed all the MTV logos and put Netflix original.
Oh, crazy.
So this is not a new thing for them. They just like to slap their Netflix original stuff on stuff that obviously they had nothing to do with. I saw that because we had that, and I'm like, I don't. That can't be right. It's definitely a BBC show.
Yeah, that's the way. I mean, that's the way they presented it.
But if you watch it, they slap Netflix original when it's obviously not original because it's done by a different company and shown by a different company.
Yeah. The show's been fantastic, by the way. We just finished season 2.
It gets better. It gets better and better. Season 4 or 5 was the weakest.
Okay.
But it was still pretty good.
Nice.
We'll get in. So what are we going to talk about today? We're talking about Nina Simone's Gum, a book by a man by the name of Warren Ellis. Now, this is not. There's also a comic writer by the name of Warren Ellis that I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
He did Next Wave. This is not that Warren Ellis. But the fact that they kind of look a little bit alike.
Really?
They're.
I don't recall seeing a picture of the comic book guy.
He's a bearded, heavy set. He's a little heavier set.
Okay.
He's British too, instead of
Australian.
Yeah, and but similar. You would actually like his comics. They're quite strange. He's quite unusual. Yeah. He's kind of a strange guy. Yeah, so
I have to look into it.
Yeah,
I know that there's been like interviews where with our Warren Ellis where he's not to be confused with the comic book guy.
Yeah,
they just happen
to have they just happen to have us the same name, and they're both great. They're both
I like that Warren said it, that the other guy's great too.
Next Wave is one of my favorite comics of all time that he did, and Marvel hated it. They just hated it. They just did whatever he wanted with
Marvel put it out, or
well, yeah, they just didn't. They didn't. He put out it's this comic about these. He took these characters no one was using. It's like Machine Man and Eliza Bloodstone and one of the Captain Marvels and Boom Boom from X-Force, and just did this ridiculous series. And they didn't know what to do. He was just like, "You guys aren't using these people anyway. Let me do whatever I want." So he did. And there's one episode where they like murder a cop and they beat him to death. And they say that Marvel does not advocate murdering cops and like all this other really fucked up stuff that they did with it. And like then Marvel was like, we can't ever use these characters again, and blah 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 blah. And they were really pissed about it. And he was like, all right, whatever, we're gonna give a fuck about this. So he's not like we know who he's not. Who is he? He is a 56-year-old member of the Dirty Three, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and Grinder Men.
Yes. And does a lot of really good soundtracks and scores with Nick Cave.
Mr. Nick, with Mr. Yeah. Arguably, outside of Nick in the latter two bands, he is the member of the Bad Seeds and of Grinder Man. I know Martin and Jim are both in Grinder Man, and Mick was in the Bad Seeds and 33, but Warren is kind of, since Mick left, he's kind of like Nick's right-hand guy.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say for sure.
He does, and he does more than any other member of the band, and he can pretty much do anything any other member of the band does, outside of sing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like if you look at his listing on like what they do, his is like twice as long as theirs.
He does a lot of shit, man. He loves to fuck around with instruments.
He's kind of a savant of sorts, as we find out in the book as well. He talks about pretty much anything he picks up, he can play.
Yeah, I think the only thing he refuses to play is brass instruments.
Yeah, but he talks about how he just picks up these instruments. Well, I'm just getting into a little bit of this stuff before we get.
Go for it.
Just how he talks about he can pretty much pick up any instrument and play it. Like he doesn't say it, but because
He
he's too
tries to.
modest to say it, but like everything he talks about playing instruments, he's like, oh, I played it and now I'm really good at it. And it's just like, oh, okay.
Well, he makes a point
Cavalier.
to try and write something with that instrument. He tries to at least compose something.
His accordion and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
So let's go over what the book is about and then what it is about.
Yes.
It's a semi autobiographical about Warren, who seems really, I want to say, trepidatious to talk about himself. He's he doesn't really like to fuss about himself too much. He tries to make it about.
He didn't want to make a memoir with this thing.
A memoir.
That's a memoir. Yeah. That's the thing. He didn't want to make a full-on memoir of it. And he thought he was just going to be, telling the story about the gum only. But it became more than that.
And then that's what we'll get into the nature of the apocryphal gum here in a moment. But you can tell he didn't want to make it about. I think it speaks volumes to his character that he didn't.
Yeah,
I think it speaks a lot, and he's a very selfless guy in a lot of ways. He cares about. He very much takes the time in this book to talk about the experiences, the people, in a very empathetic way.
Yes,
and that's what I would describe.
It's beautiful.
I would describe the whole book as an empathetic autobiography.
Yeah.
It's a very
with high regard to humanity and other people.
It's a very sensitive book. It's a very
sensitive
soft book. It's very I don't want to say, it's a romantic book in a lot of ways.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
And not in the classical biblical sense.
No, I think I get it. I know what you mean when you say romantic.
He's these situations and how he talks about people is very. It's beautiful how he describes them and how he talks about them and the treasures.
I call it life. I consider it to be life affirming, honestly.
Life affirming. That's very good. Is there any death affirming books?
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I hear that a lot. Life affirming. I thought, man, I should write a death affirming book. Like, be a fucking hit.
I mean, the only death is already affirmed.
Fucking that's it. We're already affirming life all this time. I'm gonna start affirming the death part of it. The duplicity, it's a duplicitous edge that we all have to walk there. You're gonna.
We don't have room for that in the Nina Simone's Gum episode.
No, and that leads us to Nina Simone's Gum. And I know you have a prepared statement.
It's just my
it's all about
the
non-Asian,
the non-religious God,
the non-Muslim Allah.
It's
if you listen to our episode 2 episodes ago, you'll get and very much this is a serialized production of a podcast where you have to listen to every fucking episode to have any idea what the fuck we're talking about.
Exactly. So
this one's gonna be you just have notes. You just have general notes.
No, it's a whole little fucking speech thing that I wrote. It's just a writing practice for a little practicing.
Do you want to talk? Do you want to read it first? Do you want to talk a little bit, or do you want to?
No, let's talk about it first a little bit and put it into context. I guess. I don't know.
I want to say that I think the real meat of this book is about totems, and about how those totems they can relate to a relationship, an idea, and how they can spread and how they can be shared, how a physical thing can have a shared history, tangible presence, a totem, and that's what this is all about. The very quite literal gum of famous African-American musician Nina Simone in all her glory, who I'm quite a fan of and is spoken with
me too.
in nothing but reverence, even in her darker moments.
Oh yes.
So she was quite a character.
Feared, man. Spoken in reverence and very, very feared.
Oh,
you don't want to make eye contact with her if she didn't like you.
So she famously, what did she famously say to Dr. Martin Luther King, that
I am not nonviolent.
Yeah, she's not a nonviolent, and good for her. And I love, I'm familiar with her music. I think we all are, but my first real exposure to her was in the Nick Cave documentary where they talk about the gum for the first time I've heard them talk about
Oh
it.
wow, okay, so relatively recently then.
I knew her music before that, just I didn't know anything about her personality. Like I
Okay,
knew who she was. I've seen her in interviews and I've seen her in music for years because she's in the zeitgeist. You know what I mean? Totally. I just didn't know anything about besides angry black lady who played good music. Like, you know what I mean? That's all I knew about her. I didn't really look into her cultural. I knew a little bit about her cultural significance because it's kind of, if you know her, you kind of know a little bit about everything about her. You know what I mean?
I just recently watched that Netflix documentary on her.
Yes, what happened to Simone? I watched it not too long ago as well. You had recommended
it's heavy, dude. It's very heavy.
She had a tumultuous.
She fucking had a rough life, dude.
It didn't stop being rough, man. She was rough right till the end.
Yeah. she added to that roughness too, man. A lot of that she brought on to herself and kind of kept going on in her life.
I think, you when you're born into a certain negative situation, it's hard to ever get out of that.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's familiar.
The chaos is familiar. The chaos is very much.
Yeah, it's a sad thing. I mean, it's bittersweet in some ways. Some good things come out of it, but it's sad in the end.
There's something to be said that a great amount of suffering is what breeds art. To
a certain extent, yeah. I think if suffering is taken and molded into correctly, then it becomes art. Something that the world can benefit from.
Yeah, and I always hear people go, well, why does everybody have to be suffering for art? And I said, well, name me one artist that's not suffering.
I'm sure there are some, but I don't want to say that
it's just it's just a common, you very much suffer for your art. It's
more often than not. Yeah, that's the case.
I'm sure there's plenty of people who make things with a simple beauty in mind, and there's something to appreciate that. Yeah. And we're not just taking away from them, but I think I
just think that a lot of people are waiting to hear an excuse to fucking sabotage themselves for the sake of being artistic or to adding something artistic into their life. So I want people to fucking think of that in a level-headed way and not fuck themselves up. That's why
don't do a bunch of dope and hope for the best, huh?
Exactly. So I want to bring up the people that there are probably some that don't suffer and still
do what Philip K. Dick did and just do an incredible amount of methamphetamines and then write 63 pages a day.
I thought you were about to mention Philip Seymour Hoffman because I think today's the anniversary of
his death. It's the anniversary of his anniversary. Why are we celebrating his? I mean, like he's dead.
Well, I mean, it's been 8 years since he
yeah, I like me some Hoff. Philip Seymour Hoff. He was a good dude.
Amazing.
A tragic ending.
Very.
As sort of expected from, he was sort of talk about a tortured guy.
Yeah, totally.
But what I really liked him was Happiness. Did you ever see Happiness?
No, I didn't see that.
A real fucked up movie that is.
I saw the movie. I can't remember the director's name either. Synecdoche, New York. Schenectady, New York.
Schenectady, New York.
Schenectady, New York. Yeah. That kind of fucked me up.
Everything he was in, I liked. Even Red Dragon when they glued him to the fucking wheelchair and set him on fire.
What was a good one? Before the Devil Knows You're Dead with Ethan Hawke and what's her name? It's a great opening to the movie because
Ethan Hawke. He comes up a lot for you. You have a crush on Ethan Hawke?
No.
What is that from? Every time you say no, I know you're lying.
It's from Dirty Work.
Yeah, and he's like, do you find Sean Connery attractive? No. Everybody finds Sean Connery attractive. I'm named after Sean Connery, by the way.
Oh, were you?
That is not a joke. That is very sincere. I was going to have one of two names. It's going to be Sean or Luke. I'll let you guess what Luke is after, because it was Skywalker, yes. Oh. So Sean Connery or Luke Skywalker. I got Sean Connery. Thank God.
Good for you.
Because I am not a Star Wars fan. So
I know you're not.
I am a James Bond fan, though, despite all of the horrible misogyny. I enjoy the James Bond franchise for what
15 no's and a yes means yes.
Yeah, that's a good Sean Connery. That's a damn good Sean Connery.
That's my Family Guy impression of Sean Connery.
Yeah, and I have a picture of Sean Connery signed by Roger Moore, of course.
That's hilarious.
But we go into this gum, and I always love the story where Nick's talking about it, and he comes in, he's going to present her, and they're doing a show together, and they opened for her essentially, and she's going to do the last thing, and Nick comes in, and what does she yell at him? Are you the boy with my sausages and cocaine? and
she demanded to be referred to as doctor.
Yes, and she wanted some sausages and some champagne and some cocaine, and very curtly, Nick was like, oh, fucking Nick Cave, man, like, no, it's cool. But she got that sausages and champagne and cocaine because they mentioned that.
I don't think she asked Nick though. I think she only brought him to give the instructions as to how she wanted to be introduced.
Yeah, well, she didn't ask him for it, but there's in this documentary, he talked about how she thought at first he was the guy that was going to. In the documentary, they mentioned that. In the book, they have a different story.
No, it's in the movie. In the documentary, you have Warren mentioning his friend who told him about the story about the sausages and the cocaine, and
then it's the guy the same guy who did the cocaine afterwards.
Yeah, that's the same guy. Guy who told Warren about.
There was a bump. There was a bump left.
Yeah, so naturally he did it.
Yeah, they famously did it with some girl, and she took home the wrong champagne bottle.
Yeah, she took the.
Was it Robert Smith it was, or somebody else's?
It belonged to Robert Smith's one.
Yeah, and he thought it was Nina Simone's, but it turns out it was Robert Smith's.
Yeah.
And that leads to a piece of gum that she famously put under her piano. Well, before she played.
Yeah.
Came out, took the gum, stuck it there, had a little rough going, and then she got into it. And Warren had to have it. That was he couldn't stand it.
Oh yeah. What did Nick say in the opening of the book? It was that Warren looked possessed walking up to the piano.
And when he's talking about it too, it's like he couldn't help himself. Like it was a man single-minded thought process about this gum, and what a thing, what an amazing thing.
Yeah, I mean, Nina already meant so much to him musically and personally, and also to Nick. I mean, added so much to his musical upbringing and so much to his life.
She must have been very popular in Australia.
Probably. I'm sure.
I don't know to that. They talk about it. I tried looking it up. Like, it's impossible to find was Nina Simone popular in Australia. Like, but it's based on the information I have. It seems like she was very influential there.
Sure. Yeah. Well, because she spent time in the States and in Europe.
Yeah.
I know a large part of Europe. So
I know she was really popular in. I've heard her in England talked about by a number of musicians.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that just stretched over to Australia vis-a-vis because of the English sort of influence.
Yeah, and I think France as well, because she would sing songs in French as well too.
Yeah,
right?
she was. She's super popular in France. That's like a given. It's just the English and the Australian one. I had a little bit of a hard time finding a lot of information about. Her being how popular she was. Just not a lot of articles about her popularity in those respective countries outside of people talking about that they liked her. So it's cool to see. She wasn't that popular in the States.
Well, it's because of a lot of her
because of race
was controversial
because of racism.
Yeah, them racist motherfuckers.
That's to our detriment, I would say, as American citizens being what we are. We had an opportunity here to embrace a wonderful, beautiful woman in all her glory, and we decided to be racist. It's a classic American move right there. Rock, flag, and eagle.
I love that she wrote a whole fucking was it about 13, 15-minute song after King got assassinated?
Yes. Yeah, it was I would call it a tribute, but it was more like it was something else. You know what I mean? It was a very special thing.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Do you think
that's a good way to put it?
Do you think Nina Simone could have beat Richard Nixon in a fight?
I think Nina Simone could have beaten damn near anybody in a fight.
I wouldn't put her
she
against
would
anybody,
fight dirty, and she would fuck.
You think Nixon's not going to fight dirty?
I just don't think Nixon stands a chance against him.
He's a big guy. He's a bigger guy than you think.
He's just going to fall harder.
I would like to see that. I'm just saying, if we're
talking about fall harder and spill more blood.
If we're talking about historical fights, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Now, Miss Simone, I don't want to fight. Sorry.
I think LBJ would have crushed her, but I think Nixon, she might be able to take Nixon.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I'm just agreeing. Okay.
If in this, I just like to, you don't come at me. I'm allowed to have a thought process. So it's a natural occurring thought.
Is that no? It's a natural thought. What historical figures would?
I think about people fighting.
Nixon.
I think about people fighting all the time. I think about everybody I meet. I think about fighting them. I think about what I would do. I think about people fighting other people. I think of historical characters fighting all the time. I think about people fighting all the time. So it comes up very naturally.
That's your thing, man.
And I think Lyndon Johnson would beat her, but I think she could take Nixon.
I'm gonna agree.
Moving along. So the story is then about, we get a little bit about Warren, and it's sort of a small but cutesy stories about his family life. Nothing too heavy there. He apparently had a fairly nice upbringing, if not a little bit rough and tumble. I think they were not well off, but nothing spoken about in any sort of traumatizing ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nothing crazy like that. I mean, his dad was a musician.
They were relatively simple, poor Australian people.
Yeah, I don't know how poor they were.
Just the things that he talks about sort of gave me some indication.
That impression.
And he kind of bummed around. He talked about a lot. There was no familial backing. There was no real. Him and his brother were kind of free to do what they wanted. I don't know. There was a sense of poor freedom that I got that sort of exists in that realm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With rich people, you have a sense of like structure more. You know?
Yeah.
And there's
I get what you mean about that. Yeah, totally. I know that you said that nothing really crazy heavy happened in that first, in his recollection of his childhood growing up.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it
was
was
the mentioning of the clowns and all that.
The clowns, the crazy clown time.
Yeah, crazy clown time. But
I like that came. I want to say I like that came back around.
Yeah,
nearing the end of the
his
book.
Brother later,
and he hadn't talked to his brother in like 20 years, and he was like,
you
really
think about those clowns all the time.
Yeah, I think about all the time.
But there's something that he mentioned in the end of that first recollection of his childhood. After prayer, I waited for dusk, lying in bed. The twilight would come to life. These clear shapes gently moving, comforting spirits touching my face, transparent amber barley, sugar cascading silently. I could see the dark. I was never afraid. One day these spirits went away. I've looked for them ever since, waiting for them to return. That was all. I mean, what did you take anything from that? What did you take from that?
What I took from that is that his sense of childhood whimsy had left him one day.
Yeah,
he felt like an adult, and he's still trying to recapture that sort of majesty that you have as a kid. Yeah, that's what I took from it.
Totally, me too. I think I got the same thing.
A undiagnosed brain tumor that moved.
Let's hope it's not the
That's what I got from that, and it's sort of.
I agree with that too. That's pretty much the same thing I got from it.
And I don't think that's necessarily a traumatizing or negative thing.
No, I'm not. But it's heavy in the sense that that theme of that spirit and that light is what
Drives
continuously
him.
Drives him, but only drives him because he sees that spirit and light return later, and it's shown up behind the fucking bust of Beethoven.
Yeah, and when he's crying and yeah.
Well, that's in the middle.
Yes,
that's in the middle, and that's it. The book ends with him mentioning
the Beethoven bust. Yeah,
the Beethoven bust, or the grave of the stone of Beethoven.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And the girl helps him there, and I love that story where the girl helps him to the grave, and he breaks down, and that was beautiful. And I can just imagine Warren, and he's always a very dapper guy with all of his rings and great big beard, and just him weeping over the Beethoven memorial. It's quite a romantic situation to see this aged rocker giving homage to a you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I like that. I like that. It's a symmetrical sort of beauty that I take from it. Do you know what I mean? The old and the new, and the sort of what Beethoven represented versus what Warren is, sort of in a similar jest, a kind of outsider music. You know what I mean? Because Beethoven, while popular, Beethoven was a cunt. He was a horrible monster to every single human being that he met. And the reason is because he didn't want anybody to know he was fucking deaf.
Oh, wow.
No, like his first wife didn't know he was deaf, and everybody thought he was just a piece of shit and he was rude. And he got deaf because his dad beat him so severely about the face that he became deaf.
Wow. That's sad.
So he had Beethoven was quite a tragic fella.
Yeah, totally.
And so from that horror, he brought the beauty and art of Beethoven. I mean, it's what can you say? You know, we talk about angst and bringing about art. There's number one right there.
Oh, absolutely. It's a good example. That's a very good example.
He may be the example. He may have set the standard. You know what I mean? For
perhaps, yeah. You might be right.
Yeah, for tortured artists in the world. You know.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the gum, and it becomes the story of not just Warren and not Nina. It becomes the story of every single person who handles this gum, who remembers the gum, who casts the gum and sees and displays and participates in the gum, who lives and dies in this, because this is a book of people die in it. I mean, he talks about people he hadn't talked to in years, and this person died, and that person died a year ago or 2 years ago. And everything during these events revolving this totem. And Warren's totems are not just the gum, his instruments, accordion and violin, his music, his friends. We see Nick briefly, but he casts a large shadow in this. More, Warren has a reverence for Nick that borders on like a love that you can't really describe. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
He barely talks about Nick. He'll talk about Nick if he's telling a story. He makes no implication as to Nick's feelings or desires or wants. He strictly sticks to the facts of what Nick is doing.
I mean, the main segment where he does mention Nick is fucking powerful too, man.
Yeah,
because it's beautiful in getting his point of view of what he's witnessing just during a fucking rehearsal for the Skeleton Tree tour, which is what you went to see them at that tour, I believe.
Yes, I did.
Skeleton Tree 2017.
Yeah. That was the last time I saw him. That was the last time I saw him. Yeah.
So talking about how you know, during the rehearsal, I think while they're rehearsing Tupelo, he's seeing a part of Nick that disappeared after, not disappeared, but, you know, became damaged and fractured after his son Arthur died.
Yes.
You know, and he's saying that he's bearing witness to that part of Nick that was so familiar, that brought on all the power of Nick in the familiar way that Warren knows. You know, it showed itself in that moment, and he had to stop playing and just fucking capture that moment with his camera phone.
Yeah.
And
fuck,
that was powerful, man. And especially when he's talking about, because you know that he draws a lot of inspiration from Nick.
Oh my God, yes.
Especially when he's recalling, probably the only other time that he mentions Nick in the book is when he mentions Nick falling off the stage at the I forgot what festival, but during Jubilee Street. Yeah. Falling off the stage, he fucking comes back up and, you know, he's still performing.
He's hurt against
Warren. He fucking spits out blood. And Warren asks, "Are you all right?" He said, "No." Then they keep playing, dude.
You're leaving out.
He broke fucking 3 vertebrae.
It was 3. And he played three more shows and like that. Like
he played the fucking Glastonbury Festival the next day.
And that was pretty fucking heavy, man. Can you imagine? Like, I injured my back like 2 years ago, quite severely, but it wasn't anything broken, and like I was out.
God, that's
I was out of commission.
Back injuries are no.
Well, let me tell you, I don't know. Had to be. I've had a number of quite serious injuries, as you can possibly imagine, in my life. I have a very,
not only to your genitals,
not only to my genitals, also to my genitals. I've broken every finger and every toe. Broken every finger and every toe at least once. My orbital socket was broken. I've had a broken rib. My nose is destroyed at this point. I got a fake tooth. But I have my kneecap, my left knee is no longer connected to the rest of my knee.
Oh, wow.
I shattered both my ankles.
Damn.
So I injured my back. Not to get onto a little thing about me, but this is a story that I want to tell. I hurt my back about 2 years ago, like a muscular injury. And it was right after Ava was born. And shit. I could barely move. And this was when COVID, you know, was hitting. So I couldn't go to the hospital. You know what I mean? And so I would literally like crawl to the bed and lay there, and Jess would, you know, to blah, 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 but she had stuff to do. She was still working, I think. But this was right before like everything got closed.
Yeah.
And I think my job had already like closed down at the moment. And so she'd leave me with Ava. And so she'd put blankets and pillows on both sides of the bed and have me on the other side of the bed and put food and diapers there, and I'd watch her and I couldn't fucking move. So I would just take care of her and I would fucking, you know what I mean, on that bed. It was for like 2 weeks. I was like crawling around and I forced myself to get up and walk around for like an hour a day in excruciating pain, and until I was fine.
They helped get better, at least. That's good.
Well, that's a perfect example of how I've treated every injury in my life. I broke my ankle when I was 16 and I walked home on it. And I've just treated everything like it'll be fine eventually. But so I know having a back injury, just like a minor one, I had to crawl around on my fucking arms, and I can't imagine shattering vertebrae. It was quite an unpleasant experience. Not to get onto me, but I like to relate things to myself. That's how we do things.
Mm-hmm.
You're forgetting one Nick story though.
Cool.
And that's
which Nick story am I forgetting?
Whenever they're just doing the display, and he has
a lot
of opinions about the display, and I love it because it's a different side of Nick that we've not seen the whole book. It's a meticulous, it's a sort of enthusiastic Nick.
Oh yeah. And he already had ideas for the material he wanted and everything.
Fabric swatches he's going through, and I just imagine this giant, lanky,
On a fucking marble plank.
And we don't see Nick in that light. We see, like I said, we see him in this sort of reverence every other time, even if it's a dark reverence.
Yes.
And this is the only time that we see Nick as a total person, as a human being, as a like a no bullshit kind of guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it gave me such a perspective on their relationship that Warren presented, and he does it, and you can tell there's a smile on his face when he's talking about this story.
Oh fuck yeah. I always think of that exact same thing.
Yeah.
Nick making his instructions as to what he wants the display to be. And then Warren just smiling and fucking yeah, you get it.
It's the one time we see Nick in a friend role without any sort of other stuff.
Also kind of messing with his friend. How much I fucking didn't see, I missed it the first time, my first read through, because I read this book twice. I love this thing so
it's a breeze of a read.
It is, and I'm so glad it was, because I was able to read it twice before recording this, dude, and I loved it. But something I caught on the second time around, I don't know how I missed it the first time, when he saw Nick pick up a piece of gum from the marble display, but it was Nick's gum. And
Nick's gum. He had like a panic attack. He had like a panic attack about it. Yeah.
Don't worry, Warren, it's mine.
And then he mentions about Nick's gum being, you know what I mean, somewhere. We'll see Nick Cave's gum in some.
Did he make another mention of that? I missed that too. Then fuck.
He mentioned it real briefly. He's like something about Nick Cave's gum, real briefly.
Okay, for sure.
But I love it. I love seeing that the relationship, because Nick is he's such a like I said, he casts a large shadow over a book he's mentioned 3 times. You know what I mean?
Oh, like absolutely. A minute to talk about the festival, the actual
festival. Yeah, let's go. I mean,
we're
just jumping around. This is just jumping around. I just kind of want to talk.
Totally.
About the book.
It's an unorganized fucking review and view of the book. But that festival, though, it has some Twin Peaks relevance. You know? Because of 2 of the performers. So the Cave brought on fucking little Jimmy Scott.
Oh, Jimmy Scott, yes, I knew that.
He performed the Meltdown Festival. And and of course, this fucking great fucking photo that's the book starts out with. Picture of
I like Jimmy Scott.
I like Jimmy Scott too. It's a good way to start off the morning. That fucking thing right there. That's great.
Oh, look at that. She is such a miserable.
I love how she's smiling with Jimmy Scott, but not smiling
with the Cave. Yeah.
Jimmy Scott
smiling with his honky.
Yeah, he was the singer in the fucking Black Lodge.
Yeah.
And,
if he was that's not for mine. This is for the people there. If you don't know, in the last episode 22 of the 2nd season, Cooper goes to the Black Lodge. Jimmy Scott is there singing beautiful through the sycamore trees.
Yeah.
Beautiful, haunting rendition of Through the Sycamore Trees.
Interestingly enough, that song is on the Fire Walk With Me soundtrack, but not on the Twin Peaks.
I noticed
soundtrack.
that, and that's weird. Something that's very strange. I wonder if they couldn't get licensing rights for Jimmy Scott via ABC, and they had to do it through
that was probably a thing.
Whoever produced the movie, Sony or whoever, probably could get rights to it a lot quicker than ABC could. And that's probably what it was. Jimmy Scott always reminded me of the guy from Beetlejuice that marries them.
Wow.
Am I wrong? He looks like the guy.
No, especially when he was all little.
He's all little. And he's like a castrati, isn't he?
I don't know.
His like he never hit puberty.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know what that was.
A castrati, a castrati classically is a castrated boy.
Gary Coleman
is a castrated boy, so their voice stays high.
Shit. Okay.
I used it very loosely. He's not actually castrated. He's a castrati in the fact that he like never hit puberty. Like Michael Jackson says he never hit puberty.
Okay. No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that about Jimmy Scott.
That's why he had like such a high voice. There's some story about it. I don't recall off the top of my head.
I don't know. I love that Warren, what something he loved about him is that he called everyone darling.
Darling, yeah. There was a period of time where I called everyone darling before I called everyone brother, and now I call everybody brother, and it's awful.
It seems more appropriate than darling coming from you.
I said darling, oh hey darling, you know what I mean? Like I was trying to be polite, and then I started on the brother thing, and now I can't get off it.
Hey brother. Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
I got a question the other day from somebody. They said, have you ever called someone brother during sex? And I said, yes.
Oh no. Anyways,
I have one minor story about that I'd like to tell pretty quickly.
Yes.
And that led me to a different story where I told she's like, well, what's the funniest thing you ever said during sex? And I had a couple of minor ones, but my favorite one was after the first 2 episodes of Twin Peaks, me and a lady of mine was having relations, and we were having it in the doggy style fashion. And there was some movement that became quite rapid, and I felt a tension. And I grabbed her and held her in place and went, hello! And I came in her, and she was quite unhappy with the Dougie Jones orgasm.
Yeah, I would imagine that she was she took on to the presence of or took on the persona of a Naomi Watts.
Yeah,
I believe
Naomi was loving it, man. Naomi loved it. It was fine.
Yeah, but in this situation, it's gonna be before she got that Dougie Jones sickened.
Yeah, yeah. I just thought that was you deserve to hear that story.
I do deserve it, don't I? So does everybody else. Thank you.
Hey, it's a funny thing to do to someone when you're having sex with them. Okay, so think about it. I officially coined it's called Dougieing. It's out there now. Dougieing. You know.
Sounds good.
So we get to see.
Wait. Let me mention the one more.
I apologize.
Oh
yes. Who else was the other person?
Harry Dean Stanton.
That's right. Harry Dean Stanton was there.
Yeah.
And I read that, and I had to read that line like 4 times. I'm like, Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah, dude. There is
I always forget he's a musician. I know he is, and I have his music. I just forget.
Well, it's not his first, his
certainly not his first.
The main thing.
As
his
a
first
side,
endeavor.
As a side note to that, I'd like to point out that in April, I have Harry Dean Stanton month on my channel, my YouTube channel.
Fuck yeah.
Daytona Makaya. I'm doing 4, because there's I'm doing Escape from New York, Lucky, Repo Men,
nice,
and Paris, Texas.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna be looking forward to those.
All 4.
And right now, you just released Ichi the Killer.
I did Ichi the Killer. My Takashi Miike month, which I'll tell you what's good. I'll give you that. I have Ichi the Killer, Visitor Q, Gozu, and of course Audition. March, I'm doing a Lovecraftian inspired films. Did The Void, Endless, Black Mountainside, Sacrifice, and a movie I want to make a comment on here, Starfish. It's really fucking good.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it. I had no idea what it was. I got a lot. First time watching it, amazing film. I would recommend it. Starfish, if you've not seen it.
Nice.
But Harry Dean Stanton was there, and he was laying it down because he's Harry Dean.
Oh fuck yeah, he was. I think he was wearing like this gray suit or something.
There's a picture of him somewhere.
Well, there's
online.
There's this 14-minute video on YouTube. It's hard to find the proper tags to find the video, but you can come across it. I think it's called Meltdown 99. And I think the thumbnail image of it is Warren with his short hair and no beard playing a violin. And it's just like a little mini movie going behind the scenes of the Meltdown Festival. You see Hal Wilmer and Nick Cave sitting down together and just.
It's in like 420 though.
Oh yeah,
so it's possibly hard to find. It's not a good quality.
No, it's actually really good quality, like decent quality for something of that time.
Yeah, some of that time, which is like that's like 420.
It's not unwatchable, you fucker.
No, I watched it. I watched it after I read the book because I was interested because he mentions about footage
Oh yeah,
hard to find.
And there's like barely any.
Yeah, and that's the only. There's 2 or 3 pieces of footage out there.
Did you see the Nick Cave footage? I just found some.
The Nick Cave footage. There's that one you talked about, like the mini documentary, and there's something else too that I heard people talk about. I've not seen. I'm sure there's a lot more out there than you think.
Yeah.
Somebody has a VHS somewhere of a fucking
sure.
sitting at their fucking a 4th generation VHS of the whole
the Nina
show.
Simone estate has the performance copy of that shit.
Now I looked in. I tried to look into that as much as I could about the issues with her estate, and apparently there's some quite serious legal problems with her estate and people and stuff being released and this and that and the other thing. I don't know why. I couldn't
find a lot of regional stuff. I bet.
I don't know I don't know if there's family drama in some capacity.
Maybe
is normally what the issue is some kind of familial issues.
Not like family drama wasn't uncommon to that family.
No, my God, if the drama didn't carry her in death, I don't know what did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had a lot of fucking problems. I love Nina, and I love Nina a lot more now. I always liked her music when I was a kid. Was it Cinnamon? Trouble
Cinnamon, yeah.
Cinnamon. I always get that and Trouble Man confused, which is not her.
Well, Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye, yeah. And I don't just because of the names, not the not anything else, but just the name.
Props to us for knowing that, by the way.
Yes.
Just gonna say.
Yes. That's a good fucking album. Trouble Man is a good fucking album. Probably the best. Good. I think probably my favorite Marvin Gaye album.
I have the Marvin Gaye live vinyl.
Oh, I love me.
All the goodies in there.
You're getting some real deep cuts with the DarkPeaks podcast talking about deep love for Marvin Gaye. But yeah, Cinnamon. I remember I heard that song when I was probably like 5 or 6 because it's on something. They play that song all the time on stuff. It's like a good,
With Nina, I didn't hear her music as a kid. My first time hearing about her was I think I mentioned it on the podcast before. Jeff Buckley opening up the Live at Chennai set with the cover of Be Your Husband. Mm-hmm. Well, but with his version being called Be Your Husband, whereas Nina's was Be My Husband.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it was because of Jeff that I
subtle change.
Subtle change. But
yes, I recall that. Yeah. I looked that up after you had mentioned it to listen to it again, just because Jeff Buckley, he's you listen to it at 3 a.m. when you want to cry.
Oh yeah, when you have 3/4 of a bottle deep of wine.
What are you drinking? What kind of wine are you drinking?
Well, I know that today is what 2/2/2/2, and it's a new moon, and it's the night that we're supposed to be fucking manifesting shit. So I had this line around 7 moons. So why not?
What kind of wine is it?
It's just what is it? It's a blend. So bunch of shit.
A red blend. What a fucking scumbag you are, Red Blend.
Hey, you think I'm not unfamiliar with Ménage à Trois, the wine? not the other thing, because the other thing is just too overwhelming. I would think.
It's you know what? It's not what it's cracked up.
I don't want it.
I don't enjoy. I like to work alone. I have a routine I like to stick to. And I want to say this about Warren. I want to say he is a wonderful, sincere, a beautiful human being. I have nothing but the utmost love for Mr. Warren Ellis in every single capacity that I possibly can.
Yeah.
And then I have a little thing I want to talk about via the totems, which is what this is all about. We talk about totems. We all keep totems, don't we?
Totally. I had a feeling you were going to ask about this.
Yeah, my whole place is a shrine to totems. I want to actually talk about a totem I have the other day that I have this picture of Ava, and she found it, and it's her as a baby. Okay, and I'll tell you why it's ripped in a second. She saw it and she pulled it. She's on my computer chair and I was sitting up here, and she pulled it and she goes, "Baby?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, I said, "Yeah, it was you as a baby." And she looked at it for a long period of time, and she brought it over to me, and bringing it over to me, she ripped it on accident. She put it up and then put her hand down and it ripped it. And she started crying like she had ripped a piece of her soul. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
because she thought it was
broke
part
her.
of herself.
She went and hid, and I had to explain to her that it's not a big deal. I have this on my phone and on my computer, and it's just a picture. And it took about an hour to get the process through, but she was okay. But
Good.
we all have these totems. We have from people we love, people we need, people we've lost, marks we bear, tattoos, scars, cards, gifts, children. They all mean something. I'm a very sentimental man. I have many totems, including I have a tattoo that no one ever sees, and I forget that I have it. I have a chicken wing on my ankle, and me and my wife had got our favorite food together on her ankle. She got a burger and I got a chicken wing.
Cute.
So I have a totem. I have something, I have my grandmother's she has a pendant. I don't have it right here, and it's a totem of several kinds. It's the last thing I have of her. She was not a material person. She was a very strict Irish Catholic lady, and it's Saint Christopher, and she was kind of a civil person. And I say it's double because it's Saint Christopher, and it was something that she gifted to me, and my middle name is Christopher. So it was sort of how important that was to her. And I share that with my grandfather. My grandfather's middle name was Christopher. And there's a totem there. There's a connection. There's a cyclical thing, I have tattoos. This is a shared tattoo I have with someone. So is my Green Lantern ring. We have these friends and lovers. I have my grandmother's wedding ring. She gifted to my mother because she hated it. Because it was, like I said, she was a very simple woman, and my grandfather got her a ring with 3 diamonds, and it was too gaudy.
Wow.
Too gaudy.
Too gaudy.
So she gave it to my mother. My mother gave it to me. I had gave it to my wife, and it fit her perfectly without being resized. Totems. Wow. You know what I mean? It fit her finger perfectly.
That's a connection right there.
Yeah. I have it, obviously I have it now. I used to have this box, and I have a new box, but it's quite different, of ex-girlfriend stuff. I used to have quite a 12 by 6 by 8 box or whatever, and it had like IDs, expired IDs, and cards they were given, and little gifts and things of importance, and I had it for a long time, and I ended up having to get rid of it due to a disagreement with somebody over fetishizing, them not understanding that these things are totems. They hold history and love and memories, and it's not about the people that I want to see them. It's that I shared something with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that I had moments with them, and I have a new box now of ex-girlfriend stuff since then. Just little pieces of them, you know what I mean? Little pieces of these people that I shared a piece of their life, and they shared a piece of mine, and they're different people now, and I'm different, much the same, but that doesn't mean that they weren't in important moments,
Yeah.
And these things become apocryphal in time, you know what I mean? They become legend in your own mind. You doubt the authenticity of your own stories. I
don't have an ex-girlfriend box, but I totally get what you mean.
Well, you get I'm merely using that as an example of.
No, I get it though.
I very much skew. I romanticize things in a way.
I do too. I do too in a way, and I'm very sentimental in that sense. And I know that those totems that you mentioned, they're treasures of connection that added more to your life.
Yeah.
I get it. So,
and like I said, a totem can be anything. It could be, like I said, a scar that you share from a memory, or just a good thought that you always have when you see something and you think of somebody. You know what I mean? A movie or a book or a something. You have a kid, for God's sake. There's a totem. Likewise,
Absolutely.
I have a fairly good relationship with my baby's mama, despite her being a garbage can of a person most of the time. She's not a bad person. She's just, we talked about Warren having that poor freedom, and with it comes the poor anxiety. Do you know what I mean? And she very much has that, where she's fight or flight forever. That poor,
it's like a famine thinking, or
it's either she's going to starve or she's going to thrive in every moment of every day. Feast or famine, and fight or flight every day. She has that fight or flight mentality where everything's going wrong, everything's in panic. I have to deal with everything right now. And
that sounds exhausting.
And I was talking to her today because she's having car issues, of course, because there's never not enough drama. And she's telling me this stuff about her family and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I turned to her and I said, I love you to death because I impregnated you, but I can't. I'm glad we're not together because I can't stand the drama. And she's like, yeah, I know. I couldn't live with her. I simply couldn't live with her. And it's nothing, And now it's funny to say, you know what I mean? And there's a totem there. The drama is a totem for us. And it's a memory that I hold. And it's just these things that are important. And it's our
memories
shared,
are funny in that way too.
It's a shared history that we have.
There's it's even, obscure memories too. It can be like the ones that you don't even hold in the highest regard, or sad memories can kind of bring forth with it a different kind of like heavenly solace to your mind. There's actually what it reminds me of a part in the book that I'd like to read if it's cool. It touches on what you mentioned. There it is. All right, so it's one of those obscure memories I was talking about. Let's see here. The things we collect are the things that are of significance to us first and foremost. Outside your orbit and people connected, they have no significance. Sorry. They're specific things. These things that are precious to us are really just precious to us. For some reason, I have a hard time throwing out shoes that have served me well. I have a cupboard full of worn shoes in the corridor, and eventually I started photographing each pair to allow myself to get rid of them. There's a connection there. I can't just let them go. Shoes I have used only for concerts. Shoes that you can't repair anymore. Shoes that have been repaired one too many times. I threw out the shoes. A few years later, I lost the photos. I was in a candy store. I was in a candy store in Los Angeles in 2008, and one of my sons had been told he could buy a certain amount of sweets. When he arrived, his friends had full bags, and he looked at his bag that was rather meager and burst into tears. He threw it on the ground and walked out, and then he didn't want the candy. I guess he understood it's not always awesome doing the right thing, the injustice of it all. I can still see his face of total distress and heartbreak. I kept the bag with a couple of sweets in it. I placed it in a tin in the kitchen. Every time I saw it, it broke my heart. So I just kept it for 10 years until it just melted into some sort of gelatin goop sitting there in the plastic candy bag. It became a running joke with me and my son. "You still have that candy?" he would ask me. One day I looked at the bag and it was empty. Some ants ate it, I guess. I feel good when I see an ant in a puddle of tears in my house, still digesting the saddest little goop of candy on the planet.
And that's exactly the story that sparked this
Well, was that the one?
And
Yeah,
I'll tell you,
for my awful reading.
No, you did an excellent job. Let's all give everybody a round of applause.
Oh God, please don't. Fuck off.
And I'll tell you why. I could not throw away shoes when I was a kid. My mother would have to trick me. She would say, well, I had a closet in the house I grew up in, and she would go, we're going to put these shoes in the closet and we're going to keep them. But these are your new shoes now. And those shoes will still be there if you need them. And that's what she did to get me to wear new shoes. And she wouldn't throw them away. She would actually keep the shoes in this closet. So I would have a dozen pairs of shoes sitting in a closet when I was a little kid, all one day I knew that they were waiting for me. Do you know? That's what I thought. Wow. And so he told that story and I related instantly because it's a sentimental thing that I don't know what it is in my brain, but I understood it. You either have it or you don't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that very much related me to Warren on a very personal level because I had exactly the same experience. I have, you know how many pairs of shoes I have now?
How many?
I have one.
Same. I have one pair of shoes.
I had two. I had one for kitchen because I, worked in the kitchen, and I had one for everything else. And now I have one, and I wear them until they wear out, and then I'll get another pair.
Yep, I'm the same way.
I have other pairs like downstairs that are unopened, and they'll be next because I stole a bunch of shoes years ago from a shoe place I used to work. One day I quit and I stole like 35 pairs of shoes. And
how the fuck you steal 35 pairs?
I was closing, so I just fucking put them in my car. And most of them were boots for the girl I was with at the time because she would wear out these boots in like a month. So I stole like 10 pairs of boots.
That girl knows how to dance.
And some high heels for her to wear for me, and then a bunch of shoes for me. But they're all still in the box. I got some nice Tims.
Yeah, you got some Timberlands?
Some Tims, yeah, man.
Oh shit.
Tims. Yeah.
Nice.
But so I get it. I get that's the story that sparked the totem thing. I wanted to talk about just the pieces of us that fall. And I wonder, I think the funniest thing is I wonder when I look at these things or have these memories or see these scars, what do the people think about me? Because I think about them not as them, but as they were. And I don't often wonder how they are. Is that a selfish thing to say?
No, it's not a selfish, it's an honest thing to say, because it's hard not to look at people as what they were.
And as opposed
to seeing as who they are.
You hear that
sorry, what?
You hear people go, I hope they're doing well. I don't hope anything for them. I have no thoughts about them as a current human being. They're disassociated from that totally. They're just, it was nice to have a memory, I wonder, do they think the same thing of me? Do they think, what a nice memory we had? Or do they think, what a piece of shit he was? Because that's more often than not how it goes, how it ends. You know what I mean?
Stuck with the last bad impression they left on you.
Yeah. And I don't hold that. I don't hold the last thing. And maybe that's why I'm so bad.
Well, that's good.
Maybe that's why I'm so bad with goodbyes, though. Maybe that's why my goodbyes are so awful, because I don't hold on to it. Maybe
like, what do you mean your goodbyes are awful? They're not nice enough, or what?
Every relationship has ended, and I'm not talking about romantic necessarily. I'm talking about every relationship has ended poorly. I'm a bad goodbye person. I do not do goodbyes well. I recall a friend of mine and a lover, and someone that I should have appreciated more in my life. In high school, her name was Carrie. And she goes to me, I'm moving. And I said, well, then we'll never talk again.
Just like that.
And then she moved, and then we never talked again. You know?
You called it.
And that was the end of the situation. And that was my goodbye. And it was, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just bad at them. I'm very blasé, or there's something more dramatic.
I mean, I don't think at the end of it, I mean, I think people aren't going to remember the goodbye. I think they're going to remember the.
Oh, they'll remember some of them. I make them very dramatic.
Yeah, cutting yourself as you're walking out the door.
Well, I'm not going to cut myself. What am I, a fucking pussy?
Oh, you're going to cut her. Okay.
Why doesn't it all be a her? Don't act like this is a misogynistic. I've cut plenty of men. Have you know, I've stabbed more men than I have women.
I believe you.
Off the record, of course.
Of course.
But they tend to not be great. And so I wonder, do they see a thing and they think, what a wonderful moment, or oh boy, or do they think, man, what a scumbag that guy was? And they see
it in whichever way makes it easier for them to carry on.
I guess, yeah, I can carry on and still think that was nice. You know, it was a nice time. You know, it was a nice moment.
I think that's you try to remember the good. That's all you can try and do.
I believe it goes, you take the good, you take the bad, the facts of life.
Yeah.
Anybody remember the facts of life? Is that too obscure of a reference?
No, I agree with that sentiment. I know the show, and
occasionally I'll talk about shows. People will be like, I haven't seen that show in fucking, it's been on air in 25 years. And it was on before I was born, so I don't even remember.
Well, just like what last week when we mentioned Family Matters.
Hey man, Family Matters was on when I was a kid. Okay, so I have something I want to I have a little bit of a rant that I want to go on for a second.
Let's hear it.
It's actually quite mundane for my rant.
Okay.
I'm talking to this girl, and she's a year or two older than me, 3 years older than me, or 2 years older than me. I don't know how old I am, so I don't know how old she is in relation to me.
Yeah, I remember you wouldn't tell me either. You fuck.
I don't remember. Okay, I'm gonna preface that story with a different story. I have no fucking memory for people. I've told you this. I told you about the guy that I don't remember that's out there, and I don't remember who he is. I told you about this guy.
Yeah, I remember.
And there's a guy that hates me that I don't remember that he hates me. And every time I see him, I don't remember him, but I know he's out there because I remember there's a guy that I don't remember.
Yes.
I'm really bad with names and places and people and times and dates and birthdays and remembering these things.
And I remember being a friend.
I remember facts. You've seen me give you facts about.
Yeah, you remember incriminating facts that you can use to your advantage.
To use to my advantage, yes. You know, there's no knowledge that is not power, my friend. But I remember facts. I could tell you about something I enjoy. I could tell you, you know, I just gave you a Philip K. Dick fact about him doing. Where did that come from? Where in the fuck did I read that? I have no idea. I can tell you about things that I enjoy, and I can tell you about things that I like, and I can tell you about things that are not important, probably. But why is this other stuff important? Fuck it. So I dated this girl, Adrian, for like 8 or 9 years, and she was my, you know, longest relationship, and she was the best fucking secretary in the world. The best.
She was secretary to you?
She kept notes diligently, like
nice.
Notes. I made her these notepads, and it was just, she'd use one a day. She'd fill it up with notes. And so I'd be like, hey, who's this person? And she'd be like, this is blah, 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 blah. And we know them from blah, 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 blah. And this is blah, 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 blah. We know them from blah, 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 blah. I'm like, God damn, yeah. And she's like, today is November 20. It's like, it reminded me of Videodrome when he gets those videos from the girl.
Oh, yeah.
Bailey or whatever her name is. And today is blah, blah, blah. And it's this person's birthday. And like, that's what she would do to me. She'd be like, and today this is what's going on. It was the perfect, like, I was in charge of the big picture and she was in charge of the everyday stuff. And it was wonderful. But I can't remember fucking anything. So I'm talking to this girl, and she's some amount of time older than me, not much. And we're talking about, she's like, oh, something about the Power Rangers. And Batman the Animated Series, okay, which I watched as a kid.
So
Both great stuff. Both
that Batman was my first love.
Which one? Oh, Kimberly.
Yes, Kimberly.
Yeah. I'm still about Kimberly.
Yeah, she looks good.
She looked good. Amy Jo Johnson. I remember that. But, and Batman the Animated Series was good as fuck. Still good.
Amazing.
To this day,
still holds up. Still fucking amazing. Still perfect.
And she's like, yeah, my little brother watched that. And I said, there's no fucking way your brother, who's 10 years younger, watched that. I said, and I looked it up, and they both, okay, Batman Animated Series started in 92, and Power Rangers started in 93. Mm-hmm. Appropriate for our ages.
Yes.
I don't know how old you are.
I started watching this shit when I was 4, so
yeah, appropriate for us. So I was like, and she's like, well, it's probably on syndication. I was like, syndication doesn't count. You can't tell me that it's like your little brother watching it when he watched it after it was done. Doesn't count.
Oh God, you care about this?
She was giving me shit like it was like a little. Oh, my little brother watched that. Fuck your little brother. It was appropriate.
Like me having,
it was
you fucker. That's like me having to discount my daughter because she's way into the Batman series.
No,
and her mom got her into
it's just that she was giving me grief about her little brother watched it, as if me watching that stuff was like a little kid
childish
thing. Yeah,
I mean it is.
Not when I was 4. It wasn't.
Yeah, but you mean you'll still watch it now, right?
I will watch it now. Yeah,
exactly. So it's still childish. It's not a bad thing.
That's not the point, though. But it's not. But it's not 10 years younger childish. It's 3 years younger childish, and that's okay. A difference. There's a big fucking difference. Okay. I think it's ridiculous. Don't come in with the little brother bullshit. You're trying to suck my cock, you fucking bitch.
Jesus.
Coming at me like that.
Yeah, fucking bitch.
You know, and she's listening to this right now, and I'm talking about you. You know I'm talking about you.
God.
I hope you know that I'm talking about you, because we had this conversation, so you obviously know it's you.
Oh God, dude.
Yeah, that's what you get. Come on here and talk all kinds of shit.
You're fucking stupid. Love
Don't
it.
be like
Love it.
My little brother. Fuck you. That's ridiculous.
Dude, there was one part in the book that I love where he was talking about here's another mention of a slight mention of Nick. Nick was there.
Nick was also there.
When they went to go meet Guillermo del Toro.
Yes.
For
a movie that never got made.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a live action Pinocchio or something, right?
Yeah,
like
Pinocchio. I remember that. Pinocchio. It was wow. I wanted to see if they were gonna do the music for it. Del Toro has like 100 movies that never got made.
Yeah, he's just a fucking sea of ideas, right? A bunch of fucking.
You know what movie he wants to get made the most is
what is it?
At the Mountains of Madness, the Lovecraft story.
I'm not familiar with it. I'm not as familiar with as much Lovecraft as I would like to.
As it's his only novelette, and it's about exploration to the Arctic. It's pretty much the basis for every Arctic fucking thing ever. And they find these ruins, and it leads to this giant penguins, and this all this stuff. And he wanted to do a big budget version because you can't not do a big budget version of it at the Mountains of Madness, because it's literally impossible. And there was so much pushback. The studio wanted to add a romance to it, and he said it's a Lovecraft story. There's no romance in it. The man didn't have sex, so there was no romance in it. And then they wanted Tom Cruise, and he's like, I don't want Tom Cruise in this. Like, does he even know who that is? Like,
yeah.
And it was a 10-year process where they were just fighting back and forth about they wanted this, and he's like, let me just make a fucking movie.
It's a heartbreaking world where someone like Del Toro or even Lynch wouldn't be able to get the backing they need for something like that.
I always think about what Shinya Tsukamoto does. My favorite director. This is what he does. He funds, writes, produces, directs, and edits all of his own films.
Wow.
He says, I don't want anyone touching it. Me, 100%. I don't know if he still does every movie now, but up until the mid 90s, the late 90s, he was doing all of his own films by himself through his own studio and editing them by himself, by hand.
Were the movies better that way when he was making it like that? Because he said he stopped doing that after 95, right?
I 90. I think it was 9. I think it was after Bullet Ballet. I don't know if it was after Bullet Ballet. That's all the information I have is up to that point.
Gotcha.
So he could still be doing it. I don't have any way of knowing that.
Yeah. Well, shit. If you can manage that workload to do all that editing yourself and everything else,
yeah. And the thing
is,
do
it. Take total control over your shit.
You know, it's a mixed bag where he's very self-indulgent sometimes because he can be, because there's no one else to tell him not to be. In the same token,
exactly. I think you would build up quite a bit of ego doing all that work yourself. And
not him, not him. No, he's the opposite of having.
Okay, then that's good.
But also in the same token, you know that the product that you're getting is wholly someone's vision. It's not compromised.
Yeah.
And David Lynch talks about compromising all the time, how much he hates it. We've seen the outbursts on the return.
Yes.
Is quite despondent, quite rightly upset about the nature of rushing what he was doing.
Yeah.
And that's someone else's money. That's what it gets you. Someone else's money.
Who gives a fucking shit how long the scene is?
Yeah. We have for 3 days and blah, 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 blah. And I could really go fuck. Like, he's right. Everything he says is right. There's not a lie in there.
Yes.
I could really dream up stuff if they give me the opportunity.
Well, because, I mean, he's trying to fucking put together something in his vision that he wants to put out into the world so that it's no longer his anymore, you know? So, but the only way he can do that is when he knows when that thing is ready.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the only person right now in movies that doesn't have to compromise is like Christopher Nolan. They don't expect him to compromise on anything. And sort of, you hear about him and he like won't. Studio's like, can we do this? And he's like, I'm not going to do that. Well, how about this? I'm not going to do that.
I can imagine his face too. He's got the lip sync. No.
Yeah, he's kind of got a grimace all the time. He's sort of small eyes and sort of, and
kind of like a Putin element to him.
I like Nolan. Do you like Nolan? I like Nolan.
I love Nolan. I love his movies.
I'm a big fan, and the quality of work speaks for itself. And once again, it's very self-indulgent. He can get up his own ass.
Yeah.
And that's also, it happens. But you also know you're getting a story that's wholly what he wants to show you.
Yeah. And it's not up its own ass like the way a Michael Bay movie would be, so.
No, I believe that's up Megan Fox's ass.
Yeah.
Poor lady. Do you ever see her talking about getting sexually
on
Jimmy Kimmel or whatever?
Jimmy Kimmel? Yeah.
He's just laughing at her and
well, shit. I mean, you drop a bomb like that. How are you supposed to handle that?
Maybe with some tact and some dignity.
It's a Hollywood guy, man.
Jimmy Kimmel's
a Hollywood guy.
Remember when he was on the Man Show and he was a man, and now he's a fucking. Now he's less than a man.
You know who's worse? Stephen Colbert.
Yeah.
Right now, Stephen Colbert's worse.
A real disappointing. I used to love Stephen Colbert. He was hilarious.
We all loved Stephen Colbert when it was on the Colbert Report.
Before then, Change It with Candy.
Oh, yeah.
And Birdman. He was Harvey Birdman.
Yes, I know.
Do you know what I love about that?
I love Harvey Birdman.
Do you know what I love about that? Is that it's Harvey Birdman, but because they wanted to make him sound more lawyery and more Jewish.
Birdman.
Harvey Birdman.
Love it. Hey, since we're on the topic of Adult Swim, shout out to you and your Peak Lab
2021
right now. Yeah, dude, my lady is a fucking huge fan of C Lab. So like,
I have enough for maybe 2 weeks, maybe.
I'm telling her she should make something for you.
I'm
trying to challenge her.
I'll be down for it. I will.
She says when I texted her that, she said, "I'm the meme maker in this family."
You're not gonna make any C-Lab memes.
I'll make a C-Lab meme.
This is out of your realm. There's nobody.
My girlfriend showed me a total of 3 or 4 episodes.
It's not about 3 chords or someone weeping in a 90s movie. You're not gonna fucking make a meme out of it.
Someone weeping in a 90s movie. That's good.
That's your fucking milieu. It's either a 3-chord band or a fucking a mid-90s drama comedy. That's where you hang your fucking hat on. Sonic Youth, Heathers, fucking piece of shit.
Hey, Sonic Youth, there you go.
Yeah, I know. I just, you know,
sure.
Just saying, you're not gonna make a C-Lab one. This is a realm that you never understood. The realm of my memes. They're
okay.
in the deep end.
No. You're gonna tell me that this is a realm that I've never understood. How about maybe you can kind of relate to this. So, first time I ever meet my lady, she comes over to my apartment, and we're gonna have a movie night. We're just gonna watch a movie, and The Room was the first movie that I showed her. The Room was the first movie.
Room.
Yes.
Wow. You're lucky she didn't leave.
It
I love that.
to me that
I
she's
love
into
that
me.
movie. I love that.
Well, dude, you know, the thing is that she loves Tim and Eric. She's a big Tim and Eric fan.
Oh, well then you're in.
Okay, so then you get it. Okay, you get it. But then I guess she was weirded out.
Do you remember when they played it
the first time?
When they played it on Adult Swim, Tim and Eric?
Oh yeah, it was all fucking you mean The Room, or you mean
they played The Room for like 3 hours straight, back to back to back.
That was my first introduction to The Room.
They were just they were like we gave Tim and Eric the rights to play whatever they wanted on whatever day it was. And they just played The Room over and over and over and over again. And even when they would go to commercial, it would cut to a little box in the corner where The Room was playing. I was like, God.
It was perfect. But yeah, it was for that reason that I'm like, okay, maybe she would understand. Maybe she remembers seeing Tommy Wiseau in one of the Tim and Eric sketches for Pigman.
I am Pigman. I'll be back in a minute. I am Jessica Alba. He gets Jess Alba to come in. It's not Jessica Alba.
No. Fucking hilarious.
I like when Tim and Eric are looking at her and they like have glasses and he's like.
But yeah, that was
the problem is that there's a lot of sex scenes in that back to back to back to back.
Yep. And
it's not a good
long, awkward sex scenes.
Oh my god, and he's fucking her navel.
She's remembering it as I talk about it right now.
What is he doing? And has Tommy Wiseau ever had sex consensually, do you think?
I would fucking hope he has.
I'm gonna say no.
You don't think?
Don't think so. That's like spaghetti on the first date, man. That's not a good move.
Hey, she stuck around, man. So you know.
Well, it's called Stockholm syndrome.
Kidnap her.
You don't have to kidnap her for that.
I didn't kidnap her.
Everybody that I know has Stockholm syndrome with me, including you.
I think, I just
insist upon myself until you like me. And you're like, I really like the guy, but I don't know why I like him. People were enchanted.
Yeah, I didn't think that highly of you the first time around.
No, they're enchanted. People are enchanted. I don't know how the fuck
we started doing a podcast together.
People are enchanted by my presence. It's the rapist wit that I have.
It's too bad it's not a date rapist wit.
Well, I'm not quite that skilled.
Not that charming, huh?
I'd say my charm has gotten me pretty far.
Yeah,
I'm the opposite of Woody Harrelson in No Country for Old Men. When he's talking to the guy and he's like, "You live something of a charmed life," and he goes, "Charm hasn't had much to do with it." I have the opposite. It's 100% nothing but charm and luck, because there's nothing else going on.
No, and you are quite charming with your words, sir.
I'm like a living Kramer, you know?
Yeah, you are.
I really don't like this guy, but he's okay.
What I loved about that sorry, back to the book though.
Back to the book that we're discussing.
Yes. So Guillermo del Toro, when he was talking about that meeting for that, I love that how he's talking about the little the Samsonite briefcase.
Yeah,
that he had
wanted to carry it back and forth to the car.
Yeah, I love that.
I just think this big because Del Toro's like a big guy, and you see him like just
carrying the small.
He's supposed to carry the briefcase so badly. Oh, he had a briefcase.
Do you recall the fucking idea that Warren had for Del Toro's movie, and that it's pretty goth actually. Okay,
I don't know off the top of my head. No.
Is it cool if I read that?
Yeah. Man.
All right, this is the last thing
from,
that I have
from the diaphragm.
So I'm assuming I didn't sound like it the first time around. So you're saying from the diaphragm.
From the diaphragm.
Okay. I remember being in a car in Los Angeles with Nick driving to a meeting with Guillermo del Toro in the early 2000s concerning a score for a potential stop motion adaptation of Pinocchio, drawn by Chris Grimley. As we pulled up, Guillermo, who I had never met, was walking down the path toward the car, his smile visible from 100 yards. He opened the door and clocked my briefcase, his already glowing face softened more, and his eyebrows rose above his glasses. I love those briefcases. I had one in the 80s when I was a student. I had one when I met my wife. Can I carry it inside? Of course you can, I replied, handing it to him. We followed Guillermo into his house, I guess it was, or his production office, and sat around a large table. The interior of the house was like a museum of every kind of monster and curiosity imaginable. Skeletons, ghouls, mermaids, props from films, pages from books. I opened my briefcase to grab a pad and I saw the gold crowns and teeth rattling around, freed from their matchbox. I had an idea. I threw the idea out there that we would make the percussive aspect of the score using teeth and prosthetic limbs, glass eyeballs, wooden legs, and drop some melodies on top. This was greeted with enthusiasm. We discussed the script and the project. After the meeting, Guillermo turned to me and said, "Could I carry your briefcase to the car?" I watched his hand take the handle and his face broaden and composure shift. He carried the case to the car and handed it to me and waved goodbye. The film never happened. Our connection to things, the stories they remind us of, and the past places and times they make us land in, time travel, connection, shared stories. I have several of these strange time capsules hidden around the house. They make me think of the wonderful Museum of Innocence in Istanbul, founded by Orhan Pamuk, but without a story yet shared. Things that make anywhere feel like somewhere. Nina Simone's chewing gum spent 2 years in that briefcase and traveled everywhere with me when I toured. Amazingly, it was never subject to security checks and sniffer dogs. When I moved to a new house in 2001, I realized it was way too precious to carry around in a briefcase. I was sure I would lose it. After September 11th, I was subject to more frequent bomb checks at airport security and figured the gum would be collateral damage. There was a time when a beard was political. There was no way that was going to happen.
There's so much in that. That's one of my favorite stories from the book, especially because of how he describes Del Toro as talking with his glasses sort of down.
Yeah.
And you always see him and he's kind of talking like this, and I can just picture him very excited, very, very enthusiastic. He's a very enthusiastic guy. I
like the element that he brought into it of time travel.
Yeah.
You know, because I get
that's
that.
kind of what we were talking about in a less we didn't use those words, where you're taken back to a memory.
Yes.
You know? And that you go back there in some capacity. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. Yes. I mean, I have a story about that I'd love to share. I mean, it's in a way kind of related to that. I mean, a band that both my girlfriend and I love are Deftones. We love Deftones, right? And we went to go see them. I think it was 2016, 17 with Incubus. And
Incubus.
Yeah, it was Deftones and Incubus doing a
I like Deftones.
Tour.
I
love them both. I love both.
I don't know. I'm not into Incubus. I can't get into Incubus.
I love Incubus, man. But anyways, Deftones was the leader of our night, though, because man, we went to go see them, and it was an amazing show. It was fucking romantic. I mean, you know the song "Change," of course, the one that was, and fuck, dude, when they played that live, fuck, it was romantic. They had all the star pattern up on their ceiling, and during the bridge, when the tempo went down and it just got quiet, you see these stars light up, and it was fucking beautiful and romantic. But these songs, the power they carry with them, the power they carry with them to fucking make me travel back in time, back to a time before I even knew my girlfriend. So, and it took her back to a time before she even knew me.
To better men.
So, yeah. Yeah, thanks, fucker. No, but the thing is that what I took from that connection and us time traveling together to times before we knew each other is that we, in a way, fucking time travel back in time and to make ourselves meet earlier than we did in reality. And that was a communal memory that became something else together.
This begs a question that I want to, not to stop you, but something I want to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Do you think about the importance of the time when you meet someone in your life and in theirs? How that reflects the totality of your relationship?
Yeah, I think it does, because I like to fucking dabble with the butterfly effect theory, you know, that things happen in their time and place for a reason. If it happens differently, then
that's not what the butterfly effect is.
Oh, am I wrong about that? I'm sorry.
That's totally incorrect.
What's the theory?
The butterfly effect is the presupposition that a small event will have ripples into causing a much bigger event.
So you go back in time and do something differently, isn't that something?
Well, it's not really based on time travel at all. It's just based on how a minor event can cause a big event. It's about a butterfly. A butterfly. You're thinking about the movie, The Butterfly Effect, which has nothing to do with the actual butterfly effect.
Okay, then see, that was my that was
the butterfly effect is a philosophical statement of that a butterfly flaps its wings, and by a butterfly flapping its wings, on the other side of the world, a typhoon happens.
Okay.
So one leads to the other. Do you see what I'm saying? It's nothing to do
So
with
is the way that I'm thinking of it more chaotic?
I mean, what? Explain what you're talking about, because I stopped you before you actually got into a statement.
Well, I mean, I just look at it in the sense that if me and her did meet at the time that we did, then there's a chance we would have never met ever.
Yeah,
you know, at least in this universe,
or
in this part of the multiverse, or whatever you would say.
You know, you look at it more as a sense of causality, in that there's a sort of necessity to fate. Do you know what I mean? And those kind of experiences need to happen at those times, or they won't happen. And if they don't, then they won't. You know what I mean? Like you said, if you had met her a day earlier, well, then they may just not have worked out.
Yeah. Well, you know, because we've talked about this, because her and I, we've plenty of times, numerous times, we recall, you know, we're like getting to know each other. We're talking about shows that we've been to, and we've been to the same shows together. We've been to the same clubs together for the same events, and we never met each other back then.
I think that's and you weren't, you know, and if you would have, things would have probably been not worked out.
Maybe
totally different.
Yeah.
I think I had something like that. I had a girl that lived next to me that I didn't meet for like 2 years.
Oh shit.
And she lived next to me, and like the next house over. And had I met her, we may have never, you know what I mean? We were together for a long time, and it may have not worked out, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And then you think, on the other token, what if you met someone later? Not necessarily in a romantic way, but in any other kind of way. Because I know you can't talk about that because you'll get yelled at. But but if you meet someone later, would your relationship be stronger? Would it be different? Would it be totally a different person that you're meeting? Or would they be meeting a different person?
Most likely, yeah.
You know,
because I think that we're ever changing. I think we're constantly.
Well, we are not one thing. A person is not one thing. And I say this all the time. We are a sum total of our thoughts, our actions, our feelings, that are constantly in flux. So I hear people go, they talk about one thing. And this is a big thing I see with a lot of kids people nowadays where they define themselves by, oh, I'm mentally ill, or I'm this, or I'm this thing, or I'm this political alignment, or I'm gay, or I'm straight. You're not one thing. You're not a singular thing in your life. And by defining yourself by this one singular thing, you have reduced yourself to a parody of who you really are. You have made yourself a caricature. You have made a cuckold of your own feelings by reducing them to a singularity. Does that make sense?
I get that, and I think there's times where I share that sentiment too. But I think to go into the defense of those people, I think they're just practicing the main thing that's making things work out for them, or make things that's making things make sense to them in this world.
Okay, but isn't your whole shtick to suffer and to struggle? We should be trying to overcome we should be bettering, we should be making an effort.
I think in a way, people can sometimes choose where their struggles are, you know, what struggles they focus on.
Okay, now hold on. If you're choosing their battles, if you're choosing your battles, you're not going to pick the battles most of the time that are worth fighting. You're going to pick the easy ones.
I don't know. I can't guarantee that.
I mean, that's like a boxer picking his own opponents.
No, I don't think. No, because you're assuming. I think you're assuming that everyone's going to want to choose the easiest fucking thing. I don't think that's. I'm assuming
that most people will. This is an odds end. This is not a every single person will do every single thing. This is a most people will do some things. We exist, and the language that we use exists as a majority of language. To reduce it the way you did into an absolute is incorrect. And I refuse.
Well, how did I refuse? Okay, well, tell me how I reduce it to an absolute though, because you said I didn't realize how I did that.
Not every person will do that. Of course, not every fucking person. Not every person will do everything. Most people will do a thing though. If I put $10 on the floor, most people will pick it up. But just because everybody doesn't pick it up does not make that not correct. We use people. You use people in no, it doesn't depend. You use people in a pejorative sense. That's the English language. This is the nature of the actual usage of language. We use
because I'm also thinking about I mean, you got different groups of people. I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm thinking of it as, you know, I don't know what I'm thinking of this.
Okay, so if I put a sandwich in front of you and you're starving, and I said, yeah, but there's a sandwich down the block, what are you gonna fucking do?
Well, what's this?
What are you going to do?
Is that that's the extent of the situation?
You don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to ask more questions.
I'm not telling you. I presented you with two options. You never know what's going to happen when you decide to pick your battles, do you?
Yeah, well, maybe I'm going to fucking anxiety over fucking choosing one or the other. So I'm not going to choose shit. So
you're not going to choose shit, and then you're going to die.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? Dying is okay sometimes.
Dying can be very good. If you're someone that is not
no, but what's your point though? What's your point though?
With what?
I don't know. What the fuck are we talking about?
I think it got away from us. I feel like I started yelling at you about the English language.
I'm sorry. I think we just started yelling at each other for no reason.
No, I language. I have a very there's a statement: language will die a slow starvation if you abuse it. And I refuse to accept people bastardizing the English language like I watched you just do in a absolutists. Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's a straw man.
Fuck up, dude.
That's a ridiculous.
Shut the fuck up.
Not everybody will drink that wine, so that means the wine doesn't exist.
Oh god, maybe you need some fucking wine.
I could probably use a drink or two. Maybe a nice snifter of port.
Come over here, darling. I'll fucking pour you a glass.
I have barely drank this week, and I feel like I'm not dying from it.
You barely drank?
This week, yeah. I'm not.
I don't know why. I kind of have you pegged as like a really heavy drinker.
I am a really heavy drinker.
Well, I mean, literally, I know.
I have an alcohol problem.
So
that was rude to say.
What? Is that what?
What are you over there making jokes? Trying to make
What
jokes?
what did I call you a heavy drinker?
I'm watching you suck back your lady sauce there, your red blend,
Hey,
like you're a
hey,
90-year-old fucking woman.
come on.
Or
I
some,
like my red blend.
yeah, it's ridiculous. I get these old broads come in, I'm looking for a red blend. Why don't you fuck off?
Tell me another part about the book that you liked, or something that stood out to you.
You know what? I think I pretty well covered all of mine. I mean, I liked all the little stories.
I think we've went over it a lot.
We have severely dominated this book. I liked the pictures. They're very
I
nice.
love pictures.
I like when we saw his violin with all the carvings that he talked about.
Yeah.
That was nice.
I like that they took the Dirty Three carving in the violin and put it on one of the album covers.
I love that. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Do you like the Dirty Three? Do you like 33?
Dude, I've been listening to them nonstop.
Yeah, they're really good.
I'm listening to them all the time now.
They made
a whole album with the band Low.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I don't quite love them like I do the Bad Seeds, but I like them a lot. Like,
oh, totally. I mean, it's different elements, but man, I don't know what it is. I think
I like them better than Grinder Man.
Oh, really?
I don't love Grinder Man. It's not.
I love Grinder Man. But no, I mean, I don't really compare the two. But for me, Dirty Three, I think what they do for me, they really capture this really melancholic essence that, and it's all through instrumental music.
If you need a melancholy as a definition, Warren Ellis is melancholy.
Oh, totally. His violin breaks my fucking heart.
I just mean as a human being, he's.
Oh God. He is
the epitome of
that's literally what Nick said in that text conversation. Yeah. Like, it's heartbreaking, and then he says you're heartbreaking, calling Warren.
He is, and I love the text, and I wish there was more. Like, I feel like it's a book.
You crave more of him, right? Don't you crave more? Like, you want to get more out of.
I feel like it's a book
you want to hang out with the guy.
I would love to hang with Warren Ellis. He doesn't want to hang out with us. After listening to this,
no way. Man, I worked it out in some fantasy in my head that somehow he would be down to fucking be a guest on this podcast.
Is that your masturbation fantasy, Warren Ellis?
That's my masturbation fantasy.
You're not wearing any pants, wear the red blend.
Yeah.
I could be not wearing pants right now.
You could be. Who says I'm not?
You're wearing a dashiki under this, for all you know. I saw a white girl with a dashiki the other day at the grocery store.
Yeah, did you call her out for cultural appropriation?
I didn't, but I think, she was quite awful. It was quite awful, and I think that she understood what she was doing was wrong, just in general.
Dude, I'd love to. I don't know if I'd really love to. I'm really nervous about it, but can I read off the that thing that I wrote?
Yes. So Adam messaged me the other day. He first off I had to help him learn how to teach him how to write. He had a very terrible problem with that.
Well, he wasn't quite sure. To show me. I was trying to understand why the keys on the keyboard weren't listed alphabetically.
Do you know why? Do you want to?
I still don't know why. Actually, tell me why.
The reason is because typewriters could only process so many pushes per second. So they put the keys in the most inconvenient spots so you would type slower.
Bullshit.
I'm 100% serious.
And that caught on?
That caught on, yes. I'm 100% serious. Jesus. That's why we use the QWERTY. And the funny thing is, I used to type like 103 words a minute. And I think I'm down to like probably 80 or 90 now. And I had switched to a keyboard for a period of time that was an ABC keyboard. Like, it had both functions on it. And I was typing like 125 words per minute on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was much faster on the ABC keyboard than the regular one.
Oh, man.
You have to get used to it because you're rethinking. but
yeah, you're relearning.
Well,
yeah.
The thing is, I didn't learn how to type. I taught myself. I only use 6 fingers when I type.
I only use like me.
I type like this. Yeah.
I was about to say I use only 3, but no. I use the same on you do. Yeah, I just go like that. Yeah.
And so I didn't learn home keys or anything like that. We took computer class, but I was already had a computer when I was a little kid. So I was so much faster on the ABC that I almost had to stop using it because, like, you've seen me typing. You've heard me typing. I blitz through.
Hey, you're fast.
Yeah.
And I'm not anywhere near that fast.
That was quite but that's why we use the QWERTY keyboard styles, because it's the most inconvenient way of typing.
Just slow down because it can
make sense for it. The key has to come up and come down. You know.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man.
But I spent the past week teaching Adam how to read and how to type and how to love a woman properly.
Yes, welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for adopting those lady parts for me to experiment with.
I kept them in a box and had freeze dried them for quite a while.
Thank you. How'd you warm it up?
Oh, you don't want to know.
Oh shit. But no, dude, like I think another reason that I wrote this stupid little thing is because
now you're so reductive. How you have this? It's all the sad goth prose. You're fucking I'm so tortured. You wrote something that's wonderful. You wrote a wonderful piece. And you're gonna read it for the class.
It's weird and it's fucking stupid, but I'm gonna read it.
I didn't say it wasn't fucking stupid. I said it wasn't bad. I didn't say it wasn't stupid.
I made the type all fucking huge because like I like watching you read
the book
because you see how you see me closely like starting to cover my face more and more. And so
Warren she said hello to.
Oh man, I'm sorry about that. That's so embarrassing.
No, we both need glasses. I don't think. I think I read the other day last week, and I don't know how close mine was. I didn't.
You probably weren't as nearly as bad as me, dude.
I'm blind. I'm totally blind. Like I'm supposed to wear glasses when I drive, but I don't have a driver's license anyways. Like I said, so what's the difference?
I think the purpose of me writing this out too was that I think there's just so many thoughts and things that I'm not, for some reason, not able to hold on to when I'm like, dissecting something or thinking about something, especially when it comes to us preparing for a podcast. Like, man, I can't tell you how many times that I come back remembering, oh man, I wanted to mention this, I wanted to mention that, blah, blah, blah.
Well, hey, you know what I've been doing to help out with that? I put a note thing on my phone. And so I just take notes and then we can mention it the next episode. What's the difference?
Yeah. It's a good idea.
Start thinking about, because I'm down for, bringing stuff back around.
I think I'm just always like just hesitating to fucking voice my voice anything of mine, I think. This is our podcast, you stupid piece of shit. Yeah, I know, and that's how fucking insecure I am. It's that even on our own
quite
podcast,
literally, there's only 2 people on the fucking podcast, and it's me and you.
Man, well, you know what, dude? It's oh fuck you. Here I go bringing up Ethan Hawke again. God damn it.
I knew it.
So
come right back around to Mr. Hawke.
He had this video. Excuse me while I pinch my nipple.
Yeah.
He had a video where he was talking about what it means to him to be artistic, and he mentioned something about it, defining it as being artistic is having the courage to act the fool.
That's true.
I'm in a way trying to learn how to give myself permission to act the fool and to follow through with artistic endeavors, I suppose. Which this book I think has helped me.
Well, you were quite excited to talk about it. You were quite excited to talk about it.
Well, now that it's coming down to me fucking reading it, I'm nervous. Anyways, I'm fucking working it up to be something that so
okay.
Good,
well, go ahead and start. Read your prepared statement.
2.5 pages of nothing.
2.5 pages. God, what is this?
The font is fucking huge, dude.
Okay. I'll just relax here.
All right. I called it "Waiting for the Spirits to Return."
This is an anime.
Yeah, with a very epic song too. There are spirits of light and connection that are at play as we progress through this life, this level, this stage, this stanza, this verse, this chorus, this verse. Ubiquitous as they like to hide, waiting for the most powerful and appropriate time to remind you that they've always been there and they've never left your side. Not all ideas bring forth with them a guarantee of that spiritual light to shine through the cracks, but the ideas are one of the only possible vehicles that can be used to give those spirits a chance of presenting their goodness to your world or to the world. Sometimes it's both, and you're rewarded with something literally harmonious. There are many that understand the sentiment, and when you bring people together who get it, and what you get is a collective contribution and attempt to provide an environment that can nurture an idea and allow it to grow wings and take flight. There's no negative route for the idea when it's brought out into that kind of caring environment. This especially rings true with Warren's belief and experience of presenting and pushing ideas, which were responded with a light dulling. Maybe it's not a good idea, or perhaps this idea just isn't working. With the mindful thought that those ideas are welcome back into his parental pocket to be brought back out into the world for another time where it has more of a chance to blossom into something worthwhile, beautiful, and bright. There's a good chance that when that thing is complete and presented to the person or people that turned you down initially, you'll be met with a greeting and welcoming look of understanding. Ah, I get it. To me, these spirits of light and connection are the forces that bring life. They bring power to the powerless minds lost in the great power outage. They are the signs that you needed, the signs that you are doing something right. You see it in yourself and you see it in others. All the confirmation you needed is provided by the collective understanding and a mutual embrace for the communion that follows the all-including and communal power of hearing the words, I get it. There comes difficulty with releasing these things that we feel so connected to out into the world. But the more I see, the more I hear, the more I experience, the more I speak with others, the more I speak with myself, the more I entertain the thought that we serve them an obligatory responsibility to our ideas, to put them out into the world so they have an opportunity to gain a life of their own, and to possibly add more to a certain aspect of to possibly add more to a certain aspect or many aspects of someone else's life. A reproductive process that is vital for life and consistently affirms it. Follow truth and passion, and you're sure to come across those that get it. In the process, you'll perhaps teach others and be the reason someone else gets it. This is what brings forth the return of the spirits we long for and wait patiently for. And even when we don't see them, they are there, making their attempts at helping us get it. To me, that's enough for one to proceed with absolute confidence. There's my bullshit.
I liked it. I thought that was really pretty.
Thanks. I liked it too. I liked what it carried with it. So
I think there was a lot of emotion there. You had a lot of sincerity. Yeah.
Is this it's a train I hopped on when I started typing, and I couldn't get off.
I think I'm perfectly fine with if you want to have your little beat poetry moments.
Thanks.
I think
that means a lot. I mean,
yeah,
I appreciate that.
I think people that are listening will appreciate it. They'll say, "Hey, that guy can read."
And for whoever fucking couldn't understand my awful reading, I'll post that to the page, and I'll make a visual presentation of it.
Do you think we should do a DemonPeaks podcast page?
I've been wondering, dude. I've been really wondering.
I gotta do a second page.
It's a lot of responsibility, dude. And I feel like you're already doing enough. I think let's sit on that idea for a while as far as what we want to progress with.
Yeah.
Let's keep having fun.
I don't know if we really need it. People know who we are.
Yeah. And people are joining because of who we are, I think. Yeah. So
well, like those other hacks that have their page as their page. Yeah. No, I think that was really nice. We should think about because I write a lot. I should think about some of my quite mad writing, bringing it up in some ways.
I think that's something I'm going to going to be trying to. Sorry, the wine's giving me hiccups. No, I think that's something I'm going to be trying to do more often because it helps me get a better understanding of what I'm consuming. You know, so
yeah. You write yourself a little prose piece about what you consumed. I think that's nice.
Yeah.
I wrote I was writing a series of stories about Mac Tomorrow.
Mac Tomorrow.
It's a character I came up with years ago, and I used to do a fanzine, and it was Mac Tonight, the guy from Nick at Night. He was a moon. He was a
oh
moon
shit! Yes. Yeah, of course.
I wrote a story about Mac Tomorrow, and it was about after the Cola Wars ended, the Burger Wars began, and the whole world became one magic kingdom. The McDonald's and the Burger Lords ruled, and there was an old Mac Tonight head that this guy found, and he put it on, and he became a rebel, and he called himself Mac Tomorrow. And I wrote a series of stories about him. It's mostly about murdering rich people.
Of course it is. That was gonna be my first guess as to what it was about.
Most of my stories are just maddening, bizarro delves into insanity. I'll have I have a whole story about a pet rock that ends the world, and I've got a bunch of bastard stories about bastards.
Good, you should put this stuff out.
I want to get it published, so I don't want to give it for free.
Yeah.
I used to do this thing, and this is something that kind of relates back to our totems and your writing. I used to have an ex, and she's like when I would write her stories, okay? And she would give me 10 words, 5 to 10 words. And I would come up with a whole story, a page or two of a story based on those 5 or 10 words. And she literally had a whole binder full of these stories that I would just come up with based on whatever words she gave me.
Nice.
It was a lot of fun. It was a nice writing experiment, and it was sort of a romantic thing.
That's really cool. Yeah.
I like to write. I have stories based on people's dreams that I like to write for usually for people I date because it's fun.
Yeah.
And they usually appreciate it, but there's something to be said to get that emotion out. And here's what I do when I write stories for people. I don't edit it or go back over it.
Because you want it to be framed in that point of time.
Whatever came out of me is what is out.
Gotcha.
Because if I'm writing a story, I'll go over it 100 billion fucking times and change and edit and go, to make it right. But if I'm writing someone a story, this is whatever I write down is what you're getting.
Well, yeah, I think that's how I do my shit too. Because I mean, I'll every now and then gain the courage to fucking pull out my notebook and I keep it in this thing, and this thing's in my pocket all the fucking time, but I haven't written in it in like maybe a couple of months, but it's there. It's there.
Circumcised penises and houses with chimneys.
Uncircumcised.
You draw uncircumcised penises?
Yes.
How do you know it's a penis when you're drawing it? Not just a tube.
This is the artist's vision.
You have visions of
if all you see is a tube, then that's what you see. That's what you're getting out.
So you have visions of uncircumcised penises in your head?
Yeah, don't you?
I don't often think about penises. Apparently,
that's your problem, not mine.
I guess. You're big into European guys, then Asian guys, and
oh yeah.
I rather like. We should do more stuff where we write little things and we read them, and you read your prose and I'll read my.
I think it's just a fun creative exercise.
Escape into insanity.
I appreciate your encouraging words.
I'm very encouraging.
So thank you.
If you can't tell by my tone.
Yeah, you're a more positive dude than I thought. I saw your name on something that I ended up even taking a screenshot for, so I can I don't know why I wanted to give you shit for it, and I'm not even give you shit because I follow these pages too. But what was it? I lost it. You liked one of those good news pages
I love
something,
those things. I like a lot of those. I follow a lot of those.
I love
pages.
those. I love those.
I like the good news, and you know, I like a lot of the positive. I go to the positive pages a lot and very cheerful. I follow a number.
Would you say that not enough people look at that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I don't think so. And I
You
even
don't think
like
so?
I even watch like the stupid dancing people on that they do on Instagram because it's a positive thing. There's the dance. There's nothing wrong with dancing in public. I think it's a
Totally
positive, fun. I mean, they're stupid, but like I'll occasionally stop and get a chuckle out of people dancing and having fun, and I think it's nice. I think I don't know. I'm a very positive person. The duality of the demon is that demons are born of hell. They're not. They didn't choose that.
Yeah.
So they're quite. Yep. And even if you look at Satan as a historical figure, he's very much a tortured. If you look at you know, like Milton, you know, if you do Paradise Lost, he's very much a tortured. What was his whole problem? Why don't you love me as much as you love them? Was his issue. He spoke to God. You love them more than me, and I'm your son too. And God didn't like that. Well, you know, why can't I be like them? I'm a servant, because the angels are, the Sephrim were servants. People forget that. Whereas people were given freedom. And that was Lucifer's problem. Why do they have freedom and I don't? Why do you love them and not me? Why do you give them form and not us? And so he's even can be seen as a romantic sort of character in that way. He fell from grace because he disobeyed daddy, who didn't really care about him all that much. So if you follow the demon logic, it's normal for a demon to be very want good, because without good, there's no evil. As a bleak reflection. What's the old thing? You never read The Sandman, but there's a thing where the Sandman, Morpheus, is in hell, and Lucifer had left. He's quite bored, and they talk about he's doing a rhyming battle with a demon, and it turns into like this thing where you have to create a bigger and bigger vision to beat the other person. And he talks about dreams, and they said, we're in hell, we don't have any dreams. And he said, without the dreams of heaven, what is hell? And you know, you have to consider that. So yeah, it's a positive. It's in the nature. Now you have a person like Wholesome Peaks, who doesn't. She only follows hardcore pornographers. She follows.
Well, there's the duality right there. You got you know, Wholesome Peaks, but you know, nobody talks about her Holocaust denying side.
Holocaust denier. She's a Sandy Hook truther, I think, and
oh man,
all sorts of other kinds of filthy.
Pretty
and she won't come.
Alex Jones,
and she won't come on here to defend herself. So all of this is true.
And at this point, I don't think we'll ever allow her on to
no. You know what? She's banned. She's been banned. She's the first person, besides, I don't know, Earl Warren. I also banned Senator Earl Warren, who I think is dead, from this podcast as well.
Well, you know, in that case, I'm going to ban fucking Mayor Rob Ford for not sharing his crack.
Yeah. I like
yeah, you see, you were about to disagree with me on whatever the fuck I said, but I brought up a good point, and you agree with me now, don't you?
What about Marianne Barry? He can come on. He'll share crack.
Come on.
He'll share some crack. You know damn well he'd be sharing some crack.
Oh, fuck yeah, that's why they're
letting him on. And they were like, they got mad at him, but he's the mayor of DC. Did you ever go to DC? It's a fucking shithole. I would be you have to smoke some crack. I smoked crack in DC because I was there, and I'm like, God, where am I at? I need some crack. I saw a man. I told you I saw a man keeping himself warm with a copy of Texas Chainsaw Massacre on DVD. I'm not fucking kidding. I saw a homeless guy. He's laying on a grate. He's holding, and not even the original one, the remake, holding a copy of it like this.
With Jessica Biel?
Yeah, holding it like this, as if it was a blanket. And I thought, that's not going to keep you warm. That is not going to do it. That is mental illness right there. Man using a copy of Texas Chainsaw Massacre on DVD. If it was Blu-ray, he might be warm. But I don't think that DVD is going to do it. I had to smoke crack in DC just being there. Last time I was there.
There is one last thing I think we both failed to mention about the book. That, I mean, if there's anything that it had us look up, it had me look up that Greek singer Arleta.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, almost instantly. That was the first thing I did when I got to her.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I looked her up right away, and I shed some very manly tears.
Oh yeah.
Over the whole
I've
thing.
been that song that he's obsessed with. It's been on repeat for me, dude.
I probably listened to it about
so fucking much,
30 or 40 times. Just go back to it. You know, it's very yeah. I really like it.
It's very, very digestible. I mean, it's and as heavy as it is, it's digestible because it's like only like a 2-minute song or like 2.5 minutes.
It's like a nothing. It's like a nothing song.
Well, you know what else is on repeat too? Is the Dirty 3 version of it.
Yeah.
Have you ever listened to that one?
I love the Dirty 3 version.
Oh, so good, dude. So good. I'm actually teaching myself to try and like play the melody on guitar a little bit because that's something I'm trying to do more now. You all right there? Crack your neck?
Yeah, crack my neck.
Nice. See, crack's always a part of this podcast.
I posted the thing earlier.
Crack cocaine. Yeah.
Got some crack. I got crack and guns. And I literally showed you guns earlier. Was that on film, I think?
Yeah, that was on film. I think we're recording.
So I got I've been playing with this knife for like an hour too. I don't know why.
Oh yeah, you were waving it around yesterday, like for a little bit, talking about something romantic. So it was kind of that was duality right there too.
I've told you the knife story, the pictures of knives, right?
I don't think you have.
So this will be Sean's disturbing story for the day.
Yeah, this will be the ending. This is gonna be the story that ends the podcast, I think.
So I used to work in a line of work where I had to use a knife, not in a kitchen, and I had this knife, and this is a knife they used in Scream as well.
Oh, nice.
And I used to have pictures of it bloody because I would take pictures of it every time I would do something, and I had a folder just various bloody knife pictures. Okay. And a girl I was with found them. She said that it was disgusting. Not mad about what I was doing. Mad that I had fetishized pictures of a knife on my computer. She was mad about the pictures of the knife.
And never actually questioned if there was real blood or anything.
Jealous of the knife. Wrap that around your fucking head for a second.
So you jerk off your dick to the knife instead of me?
There, I believe she may have said that exact thing. Yeah. Oh, you have pictures? It's disgusting that you have those fetish pictures of your knife.
Yeah, do you imagine it nicking you as
I didn't even understand the reality that I was supposed to exist on. And
like, what is this world?
I'm like, what do you? I was like, what do you mean? That I have to defend this? Am I supposed to defend this? Because I couldn't defend it. There's no defending it, and I didn't even understand.
Yeah, it's just there.
How I didn't understand what she was mad about. I deleted them. I think I have one somewhere floating around. That's called evidence, I think. But what do I do with that sort of argument? I can't win.
No, you don't win that argument. So you just fucking write it out.
I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't know what I was like, okay, I guess you're right. Probably I'll delete them.
So this is the fucking kind of night we're having.
And that was it. Oh, that was all the time. She got mad at me one time because she thought I was thinking about something.
No, thank you.
Yeah, level of crazy that I was like, God damn, you're a crazy bitch. And it was hot that she was so crazy. But people, you always hear guys go, all my exes are crazy. All my exes are crazy because I'm crazy. So I attract people who are like that. So
it reminds me of that Carlin bit. I mean, all women are crazy and all men are stupid, and all women are crazy because all men are stupid.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and she was just it was just a level of jealousy that, like, it's like those things you see online where it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not a worm. After she talked about, oh, do you think that worm is funny? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what she would do to me. she'd lead me into traps. I'm like, I don't know nothing about. I don't know nothing. I told her one time. I said, I looked at her and I said, honey, I said, I've never looked at another woman. I'm a virgin. I said, I'm fucking whatever you want me to say. Get me through this conversation. I'll say whatever you want. Whatever you need to hear today is true today. Because it gets me off of fucking, because I would try to avoid, because a lot of my stories are about exes, and I'm not afraid to, I'm not mentioning them in a romantic way. I've had a lot of exes.
Yeah, but still, man, girlfriends don't like to hear stories about exes sometimes.
That's just the fucking story. It's just something that happened to me.
Yeah, I know, but still.
Most people don't care.
I don't think they like it.
Most people don't care. Most people don't care. I've only ever been with 2 people that were really bitchy about it, because they understand that I'm not telling you, I love this woman, and it was just like, oh, and then I was out with this person and blah 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 blah, and this happened. You know what I mean? Just so happened that I spent a lot of time with people I date.
Naturally.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just how it is, and I've had a wacky, sort of I would call a wacky life. Wacky.
Absolutely.
Is the word I would use.
Wacky. That's a great story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, needless to say, man, I think we're both absolutely touched by
Simone's gum.
Nina Simone's
gum
gum.
Was quite good. I want to know what you people think about the format of a single review.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to know what they think, because I like it.
I like it too.
I think we might pick a movie and watch a movie. And I had another idea where I was talking about where we pick something for the other one to watch. And
I like that idea.
We discuss that, and we can discuss both, because we're probably going to be familiar with it ourselves. So I like that idea too. Or
yeah. Oh, I would like to commend you, because I noticed on the YouTube you've been adding chapters and timestamps to the episodes a little bit after they get posted, which is fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just noticed that. And
oh, it's fine.
I had to tell you. Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate your effort on that.
I've been trying to work on making our stuff look nicer and run smoother and jump higher, and it's what's going. We got 22 people on our YouTube. I only have 300 or so on my main page, and I've been doing that for a year. So I think we have over 50 watched hours on our DemonPeaks.
Oh, that's good. So that's pretty good.
We've only got 8 episodes up.
That's not, well, yeah, and our episodes are kind of long too, right?
That means people have sat down and watched 50 hours of us.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I'm hoping that it's going to be at least okay and digestible enough to where people can hear when they're working or doing whatever. Just even as a background thing, whatever.
There's a couple of people that I know. Peaks EGA and his girlfriend or wife, I don't know, listen to
Dreams. I think now it's Dreams.
It's Dreams. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. I think it was always Dreams, and I just. I'm bad with
no, it used to be Peaks, and then it changed to Dreams.
He listens to us, and the girlfriend listens to us. I know that.
Yeah. Those
they mentioned it a number of times, and I really appreciate them.
Absolutely, and they've sent us messages and put their input. I love it. So.
Coral listens to us. She says her and Christian listen to us sometimes.
Oh man,
I don't believe her, but we'll find out if she actually does. I think Wisteria Lodge listens to us. A number of
they're going to have something coming up soon. We're going to have to do something with them, I believe.
They message me. They don't message you. You're not the cool one in the group.
Well, after that last recording, I can understand why.
Who else in the most of the people, a lot of people in the peace community? Iggy obviously listens to us.
Yeah.
A number of other people I get comments from, and they really enjoy what we're all about. Some girl messaged me today, and she was like something about, what do I think about this? And I was like, I have a YouTube show and a podcast. I said, if you want to fucking listen to me talk about something, you have 2 options. So don't message me again.
Jesus, are you that way with everybody?
Yeah, I get blocked by a lot of people.
Do you really?
Yeah, I'm an asshole. I have two ways of feeling. So I like to make fun of people. I like to make a bit of sport of people. And most people find it endearing because they know I'm kidding. And I actually turn out to be a very nice person and I have a nice conversation with them.
In some ways, it's kind of like a test that you're putting up to
yeah,
them,
it's the Sean litmus test. Can you handle my bullshit?
I get it.
And there was a number of people. There was two people like in the past week where this girl was like, if you keep making fun of me, I'm going to block you. And I said, okay. So I kept making fun of her and she was blocked. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to stop making fun of you.
What were you saying? How are you making
nothing outrageous. It was just like, she was being incredibly stupid. And I was just poking fun at like, and another lady took one of my memes and made it about her being stupid. Like I didn't do it. She did it. And so I reposted it because I thought it was funny. She then sent me this inane rambling thing and then blocked me.
Oh, geez.
I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, I posted it because you took my meme and you made it about you. And I thought that was great because you tagged me in it. And I was like, oh, that's funny. And she's like, something blah, blah, blah. And I sent it to Coral and I'm like, am I high? What does this conversation mean? And she's like, I don't know what that means. Because I think about wholesome, think about Coral. I send everything to her before I do anything that I think is questionable.
Get the
I mentioned
okay
a number of times because she is very grounded, despite the fact that her head is full of air. She's very grounded in that fashion.
Jesus Christ,
she's very like, she knows what normal people like.
Yeah.
Because she fakes being one so frequently. So she's great at being like, nope, yes, this is good. This is racist. You can't do that. Pretty sure he's dead. Like, you know what I mean? And that's who I go to. And occasionally I'll go to Peaks in the Hall because he's pretty a grounded dude, but I'm still sure that he's a sex offender.
You have proof, don't you?
Oh, I got plenty of proof, but I can't, there's some senators and you're in one of them and I can't put that stuff out there.
Hey, what?
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, so I do get blocked a lot by people, some people that don't get it. So who do you do you see this unwholesome Peaks person come on?
Oh yeah, and then saying definitely not DemonPeaks, not DemonPeaks.
It's not. I'm like, you don't use my name and try to. I know who it is, and they're okay. They're a nice person. Yeah, I know who it is. And they're a nice person, and I'm not going to fault them because I think I like the idea of it.
I like the idea of the page as well. It's pretty.
But I don't know why it's unwholesome. Are you saying that ladies with boobies are unwholesome?
Yeah, just by
you know what I would have called it? Twin Peaks is a restaurant.
Twin Peaks is around. That actually is.
It's a better name, right? It's already funny.
It is a better name. It is a better name.
If you're listening out there on Wholesome Peaks, I refuse to participate in your chicanery, but take advice from me because I'm funnier than
you. Everybody, please read Nina
Simone's Gum by one Charles Ellis.
Charles Ellis. Enjoy it with some champagne, some cocaine, and some sausages.
I believe it's sausages.
Sausages.
We're getting a little bit hitting up there on the black lady TV voice.
Don't eat me now.
You know what I'm talking about?
Don't eat me now.
You don't be gonna bust out a new child or something. Don't bust out a new child.
No, hey, do you remember the Honey Bunches of Notes?
Yes, I do.
Honey Bunches of Notes commercial with the lady who said, "Every time I come home from the factory, they tell me, 'Oh, you smell like cookies.'" And I'm like, "Don't eat me now."
I do remember that. What I saw the other day is that Skittles commercial where the guy couldn't touch anything, but it turned to Skittles.
Like it was AIDS or something.
That's not how AIDS works, by the way. But
no, because there was some commercial that I saw where it was a Skittles commercial where the guy he had a bunch of Skittles all over his face. And
it was a different one. It's a guy he was an old black guy and he couldn't touch anything. It was like the Midas touch, but everything turned to Skittles. And he's like, It's like, this is Charles, and everything he touches turns to Skittles. And he's like, oh, cool. And he goes, oh, it's cool. He says, did you clothe yourself today? Can you hold your newborn? Because I can't. And then he picks up the phone, and it turns to Skittles. And I'm thinking, Skittles, what were you going for?
Well, did you ever see the fucking one
the cum
Skittle?
Yeah, but I think, is that a real Skittles one, or was that fake? A fake Skittles?
No, I think it had to be a
this
fake
one was
one.
a real. It was done by Skittles.
Well, you know which one I really liked a lot. One of my favorites is the I don't remember if it was Skittles, but it was one contradiction eating another.
Yes,
You're the Scotch Korean.
Yeah, was that the nuts one?
I don't fucking remember.
There was one that was like nuts. It was like some kind of nuts, and it was like they took two things that were separate, put them together, just like these nuts, and it was like Cajun nuts or something like that. It was fantastic.
I don't know. I just remember like one contradiction eating another.
I always think about the Dave Chappelle commercial. We're talking about the commercial he saw. Woman came on with a black eye, and she said, "I smoke crack, and my husband beats me." And says, "You got milk?" He's like, commercials don't make any fucking sense, and they don't. I don't really watch them, but on YouTube, because I don't have cable. Like, I just have like streaming services, and I have hard drives, and I think, what the fuck are any of these commercials about? What are they for?
There's a bunch of bullshit.
There was one where they put on an entire episode of a show as a commercial, and it was some
on YouTube
show. Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? And I was laying down one time. I was gonna take a nap. It was like I was just not feeling well, and so I put on some YouTube shows. I normally do that because they're good background noise, and I let the ads run through, and it starts playing the whole fucking episode. I look at the thing
because it's people are putting it on YouTube as background noise. They're counting on them getting that advertising money or whatever the fuck it is.
And it was some ABC show about a car company, and it was the least fucking funny thing I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
Oh man, yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, I get the idea. Like, free first episode. I don't want to watch your fucking garbage ABC or NBC, whatever the fuck channel it was. It's all the same shit. You're not fucking funny. The Office was dead 10 years ago. Stop trying to do it. Because it was like that. It was like that. Oh, we're in a car place, but everybody's so wacky. And I'm like, you're not wacky. Shut the fuck up. You're not funny. All right, give them credit for like trying, and I guess, but like, I watched the whole thing because I'm not getting up.
Of course you're not. You're just there, just like
I'm like
Leo watching Invitation to Love.
I'm trying to take a nap, and I watched this whole episode of this fucking terrible show, and then I'm like, I'm too mad to take a nap now. I got up, and it's just, the whole thing's ridiculous.
Well, so yeah.
So I got a text from Ava's mom. We are currently at an animal hospital in Morgantown, West Virginia.
Why?
You talk? I don't know, man. I have no idea. What are they doing in West Virginia?
Pets?
They have a cat.
She has a cat.
Yeah, I guess it's why did they go to West Virginia? That's 2 hours away.
Maybe because they're all closed.
Then you put it out of its misery.
Fuck you.
Ridiculous. I don't know. That's weird. I mean, it's not that far away. It's like an hour away.
Maybe.
I don't know where I live at, so I have no idea what's around me.
All right. Anyways, Whitney Houston's mints.
Bobby Brown's Tic Tac.
No, everybody.
Cheeky Warris.
Where's the handsome picture of Warren there? There he is.
He's a good-looking guy. Look at that.
I love that beard, dude.
Man, he's a rugged individualist, isn't he?
I was happy to see he has a gap in his teeth like I do.
Yeah, my teeth are really close together.
Are they? And that's something I always wish I had for my teeth.
I can't use floss because it makes them bleed because they're too close together.
Oh wow!
My gums, like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did you have braces or anything when you were a kid?
No, I needed to. but
Are they crooked?
didn't.
Are they crooked?
Yeah, I don't have the best teeth.
Yeah, they're straight. Look at that, straight as shit.
You have nice teeth. You have good teeth.
I have exceptionally sharp teeth. You see the fangs? Like this little fang over here that sticks out.
See, you're more goth than I am.
They're just incredibly sharp. I could bite through a man's sternum.
Oh man. I'm pretty self-conscious about my teeth, though.
Your teeth are just fine. That's the
Thank
rest
you,
of
buddy.
You gotta worry about, you fucking ugly piece of shit.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the show for today. Me and fellow over here.
I really fucking wish I had, like I told you earlier today, I seriously wish I had 1,000 copies of this book so I can just give them out to people, man.
If you want a copy of this book,